What's going on, everybody? I didn't get the notification that the show was on today. YouTube must be tripping. But either way, welcome. YouTube is on the fritz. There's a lot of people live right now, but I want to thank everybody that came on. We will have people tuning into this topic because it is a good one. All right. So, welcome to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to the greatest network on YouTube where we get into all the good topics people want to talk about, all the hot topics, contentious topics. Took a little break yesterday, got my parents coming in town, had to run some errands for that. So, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Go ahead and share this out to people. Salute to all the viewers nationwide, East Coast, West Coast, down south, Southwest, Midwest, up north. Thank you for tuning in. Hope your weather is good. I hope your commute to work was lovely. Hope that you had a good weekend because I didn't get to talk about that yesterday. Again, thank you. Thank you to all my international folks in Europe, UK, everybody watching all the way out there. Hope you had a good weekend. And yeah, we're getting started on the Trigger Mike Show a little late. It's Tuesday, but we got a good show for you. So we're going to get into it. This is a topic I feel like a lot of you can get in on. Those of you who went to college, but also people who did not go. I want to hear stories from every single one of you about why you went and why you did not. All right. So please make sure you contribute to the discussion in the chat or jump up when I drop the link to get into the panel. All right. Um, Please, for those of you who can, please hit a like for the YouTube algorithm right now at the bottom. That helps people know that you are watching and you like the content on the Trigger Mike Show and the content on the Lapeef Network. We appreciate you for your support. Give a look out, like, and subscribe if you can. If you have not subscribed, if you are new and want to check the network out, we got plenty of content here for you to check out on the Lapeef Network and the best show on YouTube, which is the Lapeef Lex Talk Show on Thursday night. So if you want to get notifications for that show and the other shows like the Trigger Mike Show and the Chaotic Truth show that's coming on right after this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also hit that bell for notifications so you know every time that we're coming on this network. Share this out to people. What I want you to do right now is go down there right around that live chat button, hit that share button, but don't leave the stream. Share this out to your Facebook news feed, your Instagram, and all other platforms to let people know that you are engaging right now on the Trigger Mike Show. We get people through their workday. All right. So thank you a lot for coming in and tuning in on this particular topic. Who we got in chat? All right. A lot of people live right now, but thank y'all for trickling in. This is going to be a good topic. What the funk is this? What's going on? Geo Blacklister. How you doing? Mason Hines. What's going on? Daniel Berry. How you doing? Mr. Rich, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Thank you for coming through. We building over here. Blessings to you. Respect to you. Respect to you. All right. Today's topic is, let's just get right into it, shall we? Today's topic is, should black people go to college? Now, before I start this off, I understand from jump that I'm going to get a lot of smoke for talking about this. Sparkle, I see you. Enos, how you doing? Shout out to Canada. Forgot the other North American counterpart over there. Mr. He said, how you doing? How you doing? So we are talking about if black people should go to college. This is going to be a pretty contentious topic. Right here. I notice I bring up a lot of emotions when I bring this up. And as a college graduate, right, a master's prepared college graduate, people often say, Trigger Mike, how dare you have the audacity to say that black people should not go to college? And I'm not saying they should not, but my opinion has changed. It's changed a lot. And my opinion represents the times that we're in. And by the time I'm done with this monologue, I would like to know your thoughts. I want you to come up on the panel if you can, as somebody who went to college and has a different opinion, and someone who didn't go to college and participated in trades or the military or another form of work in which you got experience and you worked there probably till today, and what that work experience did for you in your career. That's what I want to talk about. That's what this topic is about today. All right. So, in my research on this topic, I was Googling things and trying to read um, articles and literature about college being worth it. So, I noticed that when you type in, is college worth it, into Google, I got all type of articles basically telling you how much you can make during your lifetime with a college degree. That was what I got. If you type that into Google right now, is college worth it? You are going to get something that's resembling the same message over and over and over. Then I realized these articles are actually linked to advertisements for colleges and universities. They're linked to advertisements for colleges and universities. It makes so much sense to me. All right. It makes so much sense to me now. These were basically ads. These people had reason, have been paid to write these articles telling you how much you can make with a college degree. We've seen it for years, decades even. All right. And then I realized while I was doing that research, for you to make money, the money that they're talking about from a college degree, you have to get the job in the field that they're talking about. And you got to get the good job, not a job. You have to get the job that they are talking about for you to make that amount of money throughout the span of your lifetime. You don't have to get a job with a college degree. You have to get the job with the college degree. I realize that. That's why they're doing that advertisement. That's what that means. So before you use those statistics as a citizen thinking about going or sending your kids to college, look at those statistics about career earnings. You have to ask yourself if you know people that are getting the jobs they went to school for in the first place. Are people getting those jobs that they're talking about? People in your community? Are Black people getting those jobs that those advertisements are talking about? Because they make it sound pretty. You can make $1 million more than an average citizen. Yeah, right. Yeah, freaking right. You have to get the job they're talking about, not a job. I deciphered that very quickly. Very quickly. And you know, Trigger Mike, I can prove everything I say. And we're going to do that through the entirety of this monologue. So stay tuned. I'm not here just making wild statements. I'm going to prove what I say, and you're going to understand what I mean by the end of this dialogue. The best article I came across, well, that I liked, the first article, I should say, was from a website, Money the Simple Way. The reason I'm going to highlight points from this article is because it used objective points that didn't sound like an advertisement that was using outdated information like the other articles I read. All right, it didn't sound like an ad for colleges. That was a trend that I was seeing reading these things about, is college worth it? There were basically advertisements for colleges and universities. This one was more objective. So this one says, and it's basically explaining why college is or isn't worth it and what college is for. I quote from this website, Money the Simple Way. Nursing is a great example of the two major benefits of a college education that I think are valid. Some degrees equip you with rare and valuable skills that do, in fact, put you in a position to earn more money. Many desirable jobs use a college degree as a kind of screening mechanism. That is true. Even if a college education is not needed for the position, which most of the time it isn't, many employers look at a college degree as proof that a candidate is smart, capable, and can follow through on commitments like graduating. I'm going to pause there. This was very objective. I believe this was so objective that it clearly spelled out what college is supposed to mean, what it originally represented. I think it did a great job of that, and that's why I use this, because I want to put something in there. What's going on, Jaquin? I see you. Buck Rogers, I see you. Quincy, welcome. Leslie Clarkson, welcome. So I want to pause here. College used to be for smart people. You see, it said that. It said college used to be a proof. Graduating from college used to be proof that somebody was smart and capable. But many of you know that's not what college is about anymore. I'm going to pause. I'm going to ask the chat, what is college about now? What do you think college is about now? For those of my people that are paying attention, college used to be for smart people. Many of you know what it's about now. It's not about that anymore. What is college about? T.I. says pledging. Hey, hooking up and oh, damn. E-Nas got deep with it. If we're talking about the liberal agenda, hey, I'm not going to get too political, but it is definitely about indoctrination. My man says thought pockets. Okay. That's a pretty gaining the skills to pay the bill. Hell no, Buck Rogers. That's what we're trying to debunk here. Do you know that most of the majors don't give you any skills? We have to stop talking about college and skills. College does not, well, universities and these majors don't give you any skills. No one knows what you do when you have most of these degrees. A sociology degree does not tell anybody what you do. It doesn't. You're going to say, I'm a sociologist. Someone's going to say, what is that? What does that mean? What can you do? What bankable skill do you have? So no, it's not gaining skills. You don't gain skills, unfortunately, in college. Listen, Lacey got where I was going. College is about money. It's about profit now. That's it. It used to be where smart people would congregate to meet other smart people, to group and invent and innovate and tackle and debate about policy that they would later enact for the masses. These were where the people who were the highest in society would go to talk to each other, to network with one another, to innovate and create the world we know today. That's what college used to be for. College is about money now. You know how many stupid people that I know with college degrees? It is not for smart people anymore. I want to use this moment to help you understand my position on this. Okay? This is where we're going to start to get a little bit contentious. And many of you might start disagreeing with me. Demetrius Carter, absolutely. It's a debt trap. A debt trap. College is for rich kids and smart kids. I said that. Yes, I did. College is for rich kids and smart kids. Stay away if you are not smart. I like to get personal because I don't want y'all to think I'm just talking. I'm really serious about these things when I say them. I had no business in college at the time that I went. I had no business. I had no business in anybody's college. College is for rich kids and smart kids. Stay away if you are not smart. Let me qualify this statement for you, for those of you who I just triggered. Okay? Let me qualify this statement for you. College does not make you a good student. That is such a common misconception. Do you know how many mothers I've heard, not even dads, it's mostly moms, saying that they want their kid to go to college so they can be smart? College does not make you a good student. College doesn't even make you smart. Smart people go to college. We got to get that right, rearrange our understanding of this. Furthermore, college does not teach you the habits required to be successful. It doesn't. Not successful in that college. Most colleges do not teach that. What is true is that only good students can achieve the best outcomes in college, or cheaters, which are usually the rich kids. College is for rich kids and smart kids. It's for nobody else. We need to get back to that. Some of y'all got no business sending your kids to college. You need to pay close attention to their habits as they're growing up. College is more likely these days to hurt them and put them in debt rather than to get them a good job. I hope I'm qualifying this for you, but we're going to go in a little bit further. No one should be going into debt for college without a bankable skill attached. That is my ultimate point. Sociology, psychology with no clinical track. No one knows what you do after you graduate. No one knows. Even biology by itself is almost useless. It's almost useless unless you're just going to be a teacher. That is the default. Unless you're just going to do something that requires any college degree, it's a default. You need to have a bankable skill attached to that degree for it to be what we call worth it. You should not be going into debt for anything that does not give you a certification or a skill after you're done with it. That is the only reason you should be acquiring debt for something. What I mean by that, when I say bankable skill, it is telling the world what you are legally allowed to practice after graduation, certification, or licensing. Did y'all hear me out on this? You could take that to the bank. That's why we call it a practice. I am allowed to practice. My certification allows me to practice. My license allows me to practice. That is someone telling you they have a bankable skill. College is for smart kids. Smart meaning studious, well prepared, punctual, determined, functional, and productive students. I was not studious. I was not well prepared when I first got there. I was not punctual. I was not determined. I was functional, but I was not productive. Go ask most of the boys walking around chasing tail during class time, sitting on the yard, looking at all the fly women walk by. They do not meet these criteria. Studious, well prepared, punctual, determined, functional, productive students. I'm not saying that you should never go to college. I'm saying there's a time and a place for everything. College is for who it's for. Now let's get into after college. Let me make this point a bit further. College was supposed to help Black people close the wage gap. This is where I'm going to get you. This is where we're going to start to make an impact with these facts. College is supposed to help you close the wage gap. Every time we talk about people, and this is especially women that I've talked to, I've brought this up on numerous occasions for people only to throw it back in my face that you make X amount of dollars more as a college graduate. I did not even have to research that because I know the other facts that exist. If indeed, as a black person with a college degree, you are making more money with that college degree, we should have closed and obliterated this wage gap already. Don't sell me that line of bullshit. I can reverse engineer any statistic. How the hell are they going to sell you that a college degree will earn you $1 million more over your lifetime? But when you look at the wage gap between blacks and whites, even though blacks are getting more degrees, or the women rather, the wage gap is the same. Did not move a cent. What does that tell you? I didn't have to go to college to know that, to read that stat correctly. They're lying to you. Let's go in further. That wage gap is not closing, ladies and gentlemen. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they have titled it, and I'll even drop the link in the chat. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they call it the unexplainable black-white wage gap. They have no idea. They cannot explain why you are getting more degrees and you're still broke. This stuff really makes Kanye a genius, bro. His whole first album was telling your black ass you shouldn't go to college. Told you, geniuses are usually crazy. Geniuses are usually crazy. People be like, he's not a genius. No, he told you this almost 2 decades before I did. In fact, 2 decades exactly. Didn't his first album come out in 03? 04 or 03, something like that. 2 decades early. He told you this might be a corrupt institution that you're entering into. The unexplainable black-white wage gap. I do not think this is about racism at all. I don't. Let me read you an excerpt from this article. And I quote, "More African Americans are going to college than ever before. But according to new research from the Center on Education and the Workforce at Georgetown University, African American college students are more likely to pursue majors that lead to low-paying jobs, setting up many for future debt and underemployment. And over time, these occupational choices contribute to the wealth and opportunity gap between whites and blacks that spans generations." Heavy words right there. Basically, African Americans have been going to the right church, but sitting in the wrong pew. In a way, they are using education to climb the social and economic ladder, but they're being steered toward degrees that will make them lower earners. End quote. If you agree with that, put a 1 in the chat. That was a very profound statement. Very, very profound statement from that director that wrote that. Very, very profound statement. Now, let's get into why I've titled this. Let's get into why I titled this, "Should Black People Go to College?" Some of you are triggered. It's okay. I'm going to explain further. Black women, stop going to college for bullshit. We don't want any more underwater basket weavers. Someone needs to put a moratorium on people, especially women. I'm not picking on you. These are the majors you choose. Stop going to school for underwater basket weaving. It's just a metaphor for useless degree. Please don't get technical in my chat. For some reason, our women, our black women, glorify help professions. You got to agree with that. It's fact. You can't deny it. Black women glorify help professions, psychology, sociology, social work, etc. How many of y'all know? How many of y'all know 5 black women at least that are social workers? You could think of them in the back of your head, are or have been social workers at some point in their career. I can think of 5. Unless you are going to do the clinical track with licensure attached, licensed clinical social worker, LPC, licensed professional counselor, where you can bill insurance, stay the hell away from those majors. If you aren't going for medicine, chemistry, physics, in which it's attached to something governmental, public health, or something. Now there's even an medicine or engineering. There's even an asterisk around law. I'm putting an asterisk on people being lawyers simply because of the longevity you have in that career. Women don't even have longevity in law. Put an asterisk by that one. AI might even replace lawyers pretty soon. I couldn't even believe it when I read it. AI can debate a case better than a human being. That's crazy. Look, I'm not trying to trigger y'all. We're talking about some real stuff on here. All right? Real stuff. We got to get down to the bottom of this. Reasons to believe college is not working. College education is often seen as a powerful tool to close race gaps, but it is at its best only a partial answer for these reasons. The gap in college achievement is as wide as it's ever been. Black Americans with undergraduate degrees are less wealthy than whites with those same degrees. Marriage rates by race remain wide for college graduates. Remember, education is supposed to make a woman more of an asset to her family, but yet in this community, it makes women liabilities. That needs to be checked. We need to give some thought about that. We need to do some framework on that. The chances of both spouses having an undergraduate degree are lower for black couples. Another reason why degrees might be liabilities. It's messing somehow. I'm not even going to debate that. Maybe we'll even ask it as a question to the panel. How are these degrees ruining your family structure? Here are my thoughts and considerations on this. Just so y'all don't think I'm playing, I'm even going to give some of my own personal life experience behind this. You should not have to guess where you'll be working after graduation. You shouldn't have to do a lot of guesswork. That's why college may now be an outdated concept. That is the number one indicator that too many people are in college and not working skilled trades. You have no idea where you'll be working. This is not something that was traditionally done. This is not how it used to be. Now they hold job fairs at colleges. They just have all these people come and give you brochures. It's bullshit. If you went to a college fair, a college job fair when you were in college, put a 1 in the chat. I'll put a 1. I thought I was about to meet my employer, my 6-figure salary employer. That was bullshit. I left out of that thing with so many damn brochures. I was pissed. Every single thing I could ask for, just denied, was a vague response. Broad. I thought you were here to recruit. You're here to pass out pens and shit. We don't need that. We need jobs. Some bullshit. All of the jobs on the job market should have a direct pipeline from training to job placement. That is where college should be at this time. How do I know this and why do I have this position? So, as most of you know, I used to work at the ground level first and then at the corporate level of a corporate education company. Or, I'm sorry, at the corporate level of a healthcare education company. I was a director. I went all the way to director level. I built curriculum, I managed instructors, and I oversaw the regulatory processes for my department. The one thing I love most about that experience and those schools is that the one that I was affiliated with, we had a 93% placement rate for our graduates. Do you know what that means? 93% of the people that came from under me in my program got placed straight into a job so they could pay those loans back. Not only that, I even have numbers for you. When you do that, over 84% of those graduates pay their loans back on time. You see how that works? Why isn't the Department of Education all over this? You see how that works? When you give these graduates jobs, when you guide them into jobs, they are responsible adults. They become responsible individuals and pay back their debts. 93% placement rate. The only reason it's not higher than that is because some people they just fall off. They just weren't good enough to get the job, or they did something during their internship or externship process to piss off the employer. Now we got to wait a while to get them placed. Imagine the efficiency we would have in this community with a 93% placement rate. You had a 93% chance of getting the job you went to school for, and you don't even have to look for it. I'm going to put you there. Is this making sense to you now? Do you understand what you need to be telling your boys to do? We don't got time to be out here wondering where our employer is going to be. If you need a guarantee, that's as good as it's going to get. If you need more proof on why I believe that Black people should refrain from going to college, Black people are twice as likely to be unemployed after the first year of graduation than white people are. Twice as likely. They are nice when they put this stuff in there. They are nice. That means you have 100% increase in probability. 100% increase in probability that you versus a white person won't have the job associated with that degree, even entry level, 1 year after you graduate. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? What I'm really getting at, am I telling you not to go to college at all? No, I'm not. What we need to get away from is telling people they need to go to college right away. You don't. JR, please drop that link for me if you could, good sir. Almost done here. There should be a strategic process that calls for more education. You go to the job. You work a certain amount of years. They see value in you. You see value in the career. They pay for you to go to school. They cost share with you to go to school. The position is being created. This is the way people need to be going to college, not getting in so much debt to only guess that you're going to get a job. Look at the place we're in now. Everybody's rooting rooting that they're going to cancel $1 trillion in debt because none of y'all got jobs. Ain't that some shit? Corrupt institution. How can you be lobbying for student loan debt cancellation without also giving thought to how you got in that position in the first place? They need to cancel the debt because of this issue we're talking about right now. Don't go to college right away. Most of you don't need to. What most college graduates experience, let me know. This was my experience. Remember, I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm not going to be up here lying to you, faking the funk, nothing. What most college graduates experience, and remember I said it's for rich kids and smart kids, they get placed first. They get the networking. They get everything first. Rich kids and smart kids. What most college graduates experience is that they go to college only to be told by the job that they need experience. Do you know what that shit is like? This comes as a shock to most students because they realize they weren't being guided properly to spend time doing internships and volunteer assignments to develop the necessary experience for the job. Wow. College is so saturated. The advisors are so busy. The teachers are so uninvolved. The instructors, the professors are so uninvolved, grading papers, doing seminars, being advisors for frats, that they forgot to tell you, hey, you shouldn't be hanging around the yard. You need to go volunteer at the hospital. Go volunteer at the shipyard because you're going to need that experience when it's time to get a job. Instead of having buses taking you to laser tag for student activities, they need to have buses taking you to the job site. You need experience to get the job. The degree don't tell anybody a damn thing that you do well. I'll make this statement and I'm going to bring up Mr. Rich in the back. The link is in the chat. Please come up and chat with me on this. We have to protect our black boys, man. We have to protect our black boys. Black men need to stay away from certain degree fields. Black men need to evaluate themselves before they get into college about what best serves them. When I said that black people are more likely, twice as likely, to be unemployed the first year after graduation, go ask 10 black men how long it took for them to get the first job in the field. It will be much longer than 1 year. The smart ones probably got a good job. The smart ones, the rich ones, they got good jobs. Their people had good connections. Maybe the frat hooked them up. But that's not everybody, is it? The reason why I feel strongly about this is somebody who took years. It took me years. I am as smart, as intelligent, more capable, more determined. I became this way over years than many of my white counterparts, only to be at least 5 years behind them because of how hard it is for black men to get jobs. You benefit from that placement rate that I talked about. You benefit from experience over someone else. Black men need to watch putting themselves in competition where it's you, a white man, a white woman, or a black woman. You will likely get chosen last. White man, white woman, minority, Black woman, double minority. And then there's you, the black man. Not to mention anybody else who wants to apply for the job. Being in competition with these people in that way does not serve you. They cannot wait to choose you last, no matter how capable you are. Set yourself up. You need skills. These are your best friends. These are your degrees right here. These 10 fingers are your degrees. When black men use this in mass, I've done the history. I've watched the history, read the history. When black men use these, we build families. When black men use these, we have unlimited resources when we band together as a community. When black men use these, our children get raised in the same home. 93% placement. The skills are where your power is at. Black men, you need skills. Use these. They cannot wait to choose you last. Your own women put themselves in front of you. Protect yourself. Skilled trades, military. Learn a skill for free. And if college is required afterwards, then you go. And it's on them. They're footing the bill, not you. Do you know, I got to tell you this. This is funny. Naturally, my bachelor's and my master's had something to do with my advancement. But do you know the job that I got that ended up being my highest paying job once I advanced through the ranks was not my degrees that got me that job. It was my military experience that got me that job. Damn. Mr. Rich, how you doing?
All right. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good this morning. Good this morning. What you got on
All
the
right.
topic, sir?
It's some music in the background. It's my neighbors, so hopefully it ain't too loud.
No, can't really hear it.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, man, I went to college. I hear what you're saying, but my whole deal was back in the day, right? I went to college in
Yeah.
shit, 76. 76. The
You know,
tuition was
actually,
like
yeah.
not $700 a semester. So
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, so I went on a program, but I went into an engineering field. I was a
Yep.
chemical engineer by education.
Yep.
So pretty much I think I was maybe one of three black folks in the whole department. All the instructors knew me, everything. So my cousin was who was older than me, he went to Vietnam, but he was a chemical engineer. And then he went to work for Monsanto. And then I said, well, Agent Orange, by the way. And
Hmm.
I said, well, you could get a job. That's what I was thinking. Like, can you get a job with an engineering degree? That's all I thought about. So, and that was the deal. So the rest is history. I went through, it took me 5 years, the regular thing wasn't 4 years. Then I worked for a company in Buffalo. And then Reagan was president and he was putting
Yep.
money into the Department of Defense. So
Okay.
then I went down to Texarkana, Texas, went to a training program, and I spent 38 years working for the Department of Defense.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. A lot of people was leaving. I was in the software field. I took a 2-week course on software quality engineering in the 70s. And everything has software in it now. So when I went to work, I said, this is the career field to be in. We always had money. We always had advancement. We always had all that kind of stuff. So I moved through the ranks being in the software area.
You know what really interests me about this particular topic? The price that you said college was at the time, to be in a university. I think during your time, was it still male dominated? Colleges?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Well, it depends on the field. I went to when the university I went to had no shortage of women. but they
Hmm.
weren't in engineering. You know,
Yeah.
but they had a few, white women in engineering, but I didn't pay any attention to them for the most part. But there was a there was no shortage of women where I went to school, even back then.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no
Nice.
shortage of women.
All right. For those of y'all in the chat, the link is dropped. Come up and chat with us. I definitely have some questions for you though, Mr. Rich, because that time difference is a huge part of
But
the
let me just say,
problem.
the value was there back then.
Yep.
The value for education and getting your degree was definitely there. I mean, they paid for my. I went on this equal opportunity program when they used to
Mhm.
exist. Uh, I went from Catholic school to there. It paid for my tuition, and I had money left over to spend.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you know what? Not only is that actually important to note, not they do things like that today, but with different names. And I get into it a lot with some of the panelists that are my colleagues and acquaintances. And one of the points that I want to make is that because they'll ask me, well, am I going to send my kids to college? Sure, I will. In
yeah.
my family, we only go to school for a few things. Nigerians are STEM people, right? So anything that's bankable, they can go to college for. But if I notice that my daughter or my son does not excel in the subjects where those kids do well, they are not going on my dime. They're not,
I
right?
hear you.
So it's weird to me that people and we also got to understand that those programs do exist, but for the smart kids. So you have to have the habits necessary to
Hmm.
upkeep, right? Because they will reevaluate you sometimes every semester, sometimes mostly the year, but sometimes every semester they will reevaluate you for those programs and those scholarships so they can give them to more capable students, right? So there are people who don't have any of that going on, don't
Right,
qualify for any of that, and just go to college. That's where
right,
I believe we get this issue from where we flooded the college market. That's the only reason I was saying, or part of the reason I said college is for rich kids and smart kids. You got to be able to maintain a certain level of being studious, preparation, focused on your study, like all of that to do that well and even get those scholarships that to be eligible for that today.
well, one of the first things a kid has to learn when they go to college that the professors don't teach you anything. They just present
Nope.
information,
Yep.
and you got to go learn it on your own. And so there's certain tricks that you have to learn. But I mean, everybody partied, man. Part of the reason why we were in school and we partied all the time, right? But the deal was, if you wanted to stay in this little mix, you had to pass your classes, right? So if you wanted to
Mhm.
continue to party, the one thing the penance you had to pay was get enough grade point average so you didn't get kicked out of school.
Yep. Okay.
So I mean, it was just a psychological thing. I mean, because I pledged to frat, I did all kinds of stuff when I was in engineering school. And those stories are a sidebar, but you know, there was a lot of taxing stuff on me being a chemical engineer. All the professors knew me, and because I was the only black guy, pretty much only black male in all the classes, so I think they had the incentive to get my ass out of there so I could be some kind of statistic. But they all knew me, and I didn't have all the professors, but they used to talk about me in their old council room. And how is this guy doing? And it's not like they gave me nothing, man. They ragged me, man. I had to produce. I had to produce.
Understood. Let me get this question ready because this one is kind of jumping the generational gap. Put it in the banner really quickly. All right. What is the best career trajectory for the younger generation? So now that you talk a lot about your daughters and how you prepared them for school, got them through all of that. I usually understand, and then you talked a lot about the investments you had. Do you mind sharing if your daughters had scholarships or anything like that?
No, my first one, actually, my oldest daughter was 30. She had a
Mhm.
95% scholarship to the University of Buffalo
Damn.
that I went to.
My
She,
wife went there. Oh, y'all went to UB.
yeah,
Is that what they
UB,
call it?
UB,
Okay.
yeah. Let me just tell you this. I never. She wanted to go to Rutgers in New
Mhm.
Jersey,
That's out of
and
state?
no, I'm in New Jersey, so she is in state, but it should have been out of state. She cried so. I mean, she did the whole daughter tears kind of thing. That I said, you're the only kid in the history of mankind crying that you got a scholarship. She didn't want to go to Buffalo,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And you know what? So I had to send her to Rutgers. She didn't get no money from Rutgers. So in a 5-year period, I had to pay $130,000 to get her through that school.
Damn.
And so I told her, listen, if you have to take loans, you're paying those damn things back. Right. So she went through the program and she had like 35,000 dollars worth of loans to get through the whole program. And as soon as and luckily for me, and blessed for her, that she's not in STEM, she wasn't like human resources, but she found a
Yeah.
job for that in her field. And it was a competitive job. She got it and she's still working it. It's like, she graduated in 2015, 16. She's still working it now, had around several competitive promotions. So she's doing well. But she paid back that loan in like three years because she was living back here with me before she
You told
moved
me.
out. So she was able to pay for those loans. And they're gone. And me being a dutiful dad, when she moved out, I gave her back the money. She didn't know it was
Right.
coming. So I just gave her back. I just
That's
gave
the
her,
way to do it.
yeah. So I wanted her to feel the pinch and all that stuff. So that was a lesson for her. So she didn't know. I said, well, for her moving out present, I gave her back the money that she paid for those loans. I mean, I was just blessed to be able to do that. And my youngest daughter is an architect. She's an accomplished musician and she's an architect at the same time. And the girl wanted to be an architect since she was 9 years old. And because when she first asked
Wow.
me, what do you want to be? She said, I want to be an architect. I said, spell it. So she spelled it. And all through grammar school, high school, everything. I want to be an architect. I want to be. So she went to her school and she graduated summa cum laude. It's an architecture. And and
Right.
it's amazing because I joke with her. I said I should have had a DNA test because I was struggling to get C's and shit, man. You know,
Mhm.
I was struggling to just get the hell out of school, man. These kids were just blasting through, and maybe I quit that to their mother, whatever. I don't know, but she did pretty well. So she's working as an architect now, and she still does her music. She plays in a band and she does all kinds of stuff. So the kid is just focused. And so both of my kids were focused. So I didn't really have to worry about them just fooling around out there because they had so much shit to do, you know? And that's just me. So I mean, I feel blessed that way. And they had some opportunity, they had some advantages because their mother was home most of the time.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference.
Let me
So
let me ask you this question because now that you've watched it for several generations now, the way people go to college, what people go to college for. There were a lot, statistically speaking, there were a lot more men in college when you went versus now. So it's really hard to, well, it's easy to determine because white men and I believe black men have decreased their enrollment
right,
in college.
right, right,
I think I said Asian men decreased, but I think theirs is kind of the same.
right.
Participation in college because of the majors they go for. But do you think is a college degree just a social status symbol for men and women that go?
I think more now for sure. And I think more men, I think one of the big decreases for men is we do the cost analysis in our heads. It's
Mhm.
going to cost me 100 something thousand dollars to get out of school and I might get a job. Or I can just go start working now. And if I can just, get some status as a working man, if I want to take a course here or a course there to do this and to better myself in a given field, I think a lot of men are doing that. I don't need a BS or a BA or whatever the hell it is. I'll go to junior college or I'll get some kind of skill and I don't have to get in that kind of debt. I don't think women do that kind of cost analysis. They don't, you know,
No,
right?
no,
So,
they don't.
and so it's not that men just want to be ignorant. They just look at it and say, shit, man, because we know there's going to be no relief for us if we're in $200,000 worth of debt.
I,
You know,
I, yep. I, um, I looked up. Darn, this is a long time ago, so I don't want to misquote the stat. But within certain majors, it's the ones that I call, underwater basket weaving.
mhm,
They lead in the amount of women not working in those majors after 5 years
right.
of graduation.
Yeah.
So not only did you run up the most amount of debt, some of them, had grades to get into excellent schools, but then you choose a major like that with no clinical track, with nothing attached to it, doesn't tell anyone what you do, and then you're stuck with the debt. So then at that point, I just realized that some women actually become professional students.
Right. Right.
They'll just keep getting degree just to, and it's more like, is this netting you anything? Does the job you have match this amount of education that you're getting? Right. And that's the point where I say, is this just a social status symbol? Are you just here to say I'm a PhD? Like, are you just doing school for that? What is the outlook? What's the trajectory of your life with this degree? What do you say, Enter Black Dragon?
I'd say these titles are the most expensive bragging rights that's ever been brought up in a conversation. Whether it be now, now there's several ways about education, right? Because we're talking about an overarching infrastructure in which people in poverty can move up through, or not a person through poverty, but anybody at a lower social status can move up in between classes, and that bridge being education, because the more you know, the more you can apply that knowledge to your career, and then thus and thus making more money, thus and so forth. That's at least the conceptual idea behind the degree in the first place when we started this. I think that over the decades, like anything that had a noble start, it became capitalistic. And it became all about money rather than moving between social classes. So now the elites have their own like a, what do you call it, network, right? So I'm a Rockefeller or whatever. I can exist in an entire world, never having to understand, diversity. I can just go to a private school. I can go to a private college, an Ivy League college. I can have this job that's ready for me, and I don't have to work too hard to achieve or acquire any of it. It's just all laid out as far as infrastructure for other people who've had to knock down walls and build buildings to have that kind of network. We're only now trying to catch up to a system that's been in place for decades. So yeah, for me it was worth it, but for other people, like you're saying, like there's some women who have the underwater basket degrees, but I think for women, depending on who you are, I think Black women go there for maybe the social status and the clout, while white women go there for their MRS degree. They go there to kind of usually go shopping for a husband and usually get the husband out of the deal.
The South is real for that.
Right.
I've heard a whole mom say in our neighborhood, right around the summertime, everybody's out at the park or with their little brothers and like, such and such is going to Ole Miss, such and such is going to blank blank. And then the other mom is like, yeah, she gonna find her husband. I'm like,
Yep.
they still do that? Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Professional husband hunters. I mean, we can't really blame them.
No.
Well, you guys see, at the NBA and NFL draft, All those
Yep.
brothers with the white women on their arms.
Yep.
I mean, they ain't like, those white women ain't stupid, man. And
I'm
they
telling you.
don't. Some of those guys, they say, okay, he ain't at the finish line right now, so I'm gonna invest
Mm-hmm.
in this guy, right? They just
Investment.
some black women on TikTok saying that it's not worth investing in a man. He's got to be at the finish line already, and that's when it's
Well,
too late.
I mean, look. So it's not this broadcast. So I said on another broadcast, I said, please don't think that the rate at which black men deal with other women means that they feel any certain way about black women. That's not most black men. It's that on their way to thinking that they were eventually going to marry a black woman or someone like their mother, they were distracted. That's what I'm telling these women in colleges. So the college I went to had this, it was one of those situations where the other college, right? I went to an HBCU. So the white college, the PWI, was in very close proximity. So it's like half the time you on your campus, half the time you on their campus. And when I tell you they all wanted to be distractions for all the black dudes, like, oh, he's so cool. Look at his sneakers. And,
That's
I
right.
was a party promoter, so I'm passing out flyers. And, they do that thing where they take the flyer and they walking away and they give you that look like, yeah, you can come to my room after this. And I'm like, oh, man, some of these dudes are goners. That PWI my brother went to. In fact, all my siblings went there. So, and I went to the HBCU. So they could tell you. I just had to ask my brothers. My brother, what was your experience there? And he looked at me like, man, easily, he said, if he had not, been safer, there could be a mixed baby walking around. These women are very, very, they're not shy. That's the way.
No.
They are not shy about letting you know that they are willing to, invest. I see what you're doing. I'm here. So, I don't think it's necessarily that some black men, especially in college, don't like black women. They they get distracted by all the options around. What's up, Lou?
What up, Trigger? What's going on?
What's going on? What you got on the topic?
Um, I was thinking, unfortunately, there's still this stigma around going to college, right? Especially for men, because men have dropped out of colleges in high rates, and there are many reasons for that. But, just to answer the question simply, there's no need to go to college if you're not going for something that doesn't require the accreditation, right? And we are seeing more and more that corporations and also different fields are beginning to accept the fact that if you have experience in your field that is equivalent to your college degree, then they will accept that, right? But we cannot sit here and say that college is completely out of the question. But we are seeing changes coming in, especially due to the high amount of debt that is being acquired by all sorts of students. Because college is a business, right? And loans are business. I am in the loan business. Loans are business. Money is a business, and schools are businesses. So, from from a very young age, it seems like we're being taught to acquire student loans. And when you're 18, you sit with that contract in front of you, and it's funny that they don't teach you how to read that contract. You don't know what an interest rate is. You don't know what a loan term is. You don't know what the type of loan that you're getting is. You don't know anything about anything. And it's just interesting that they don't teach you about that, but they want you to get it because that's what it means to be successful, right? And another thing is that in other countries, I'm Brazilian, right? So in Brazil, for an example, there's still a very strong connection between the corporations and colleges, right? In Brazil, it is very difficult for you to get a job in a certain corporation if you did not go to college because they are so closely aligned. But once again, like I said before, corporations are beginning to disassociate themselves from colleges in all sorts of fields when it comes to accreditation. And then they're plugging in the experience. But there are very high-end fields that, of course, if you don't get that college degree from a certain college, certain corporations won't hire you, right? There's a difference between Harvard and regular old HBCU, right? So that's it. I think it's very subjective though. But the beautiful thing about America is that we have the chance to do both, and that's the beauty of it.
Indeed. PhD, what's going on?
Hey, Trigger Mike, how are you?
I'm good. What you got on the topic?
So, in terms of a college degree being a social status symbol, I really don't think so. Just because people are well aware of, we all know people who have maybe even multiple degrees and they still don't really earn a lot of money, or their job isn't very, high in prestige, or it's not a glamorous job. So I think people have kind of taken off the rose-colored glasses where college is concerned, and so a lot of people are touting business ownership now. But I think part of the issue is that, and I'm talking about Black people, we tend to have very all or nothing thinking. So I've heard people say, oh, well, they told us, if we get a college degree, then we would be successful. And I'm like, well, who told you that? Who was they? Because nobody ever told me that. Like, you have to have a plan. You have to look into what it is you're going to study. What are the job prospects for that field of study? How much that field makes. And it seems like a lot of people don't really put the thought into it on the front end. And so that a lot of times is why they have the lackluster results on the back end. You had something to say?
No, continue.
Okay. And so, like, for me, I always tell, because Black women do like to get a lot of degrees. And I tell Black women, hey, I think a lot of times we don't even understand the degrees that we're getting. So I tell Black women, don't get a master's degree. A master's degree is a professional degree. They're not going to pay you to get that. Go and get a PhD. It's a research degree. They'll pay you to get that. Those typically are free. So if you're going to go back to school, go get the free degree that is going to put you higher on the totem pole anyway than getting the professional degree that's going to cost you, a whole lot of student loan debt. And you still, 9 times out of 10 might be answering to that person with the PhD anyway. So I think it's just a lack of understanding. And then also with like network. So part of the issue with a college degree is the network that you're tapping into. And so that's why I always encourage Black people to go to HBCUs, because you're not only tapping into the particular HBCU that you attend, that network, but the larger HBCU network. And, there was a study, this was maybe around 2010, that was showing that Blacks who attend like even Ivy League colleges don't get the same bang for the buck as, whites, because those people, if they weren't willing to share notes with you while you were in school, they're not going to pick up the phone on your behalf, after school to make that phone call for you to get that job. So I just think it's a lot of moving parts that have to be considered when undertaking, the college route. And I think a lot of times we aren't putting that thought in on the front end. Into what we want out of that degree and what we want to do with it. So those are my thoughts.
So what you said about now I went to HBCU, so I'm not gonna sit here and downplay HBCUs. HBCUs have their issues, right? It's been reported. Everybody can read about it, but I'm not sure I agree with that. Black people going to PWI or prestigious PWI. Now, I think if you'll say they will probably be less likely because, right, a lot of them aren't eligible for those final clubs and different frats because they don't have the network. They don't have the legacy, rather. They're not like a legacy or anything like that. But one of the reasons I moved to Texas is that Texas functions as its own economy. And yes, everybody says that about their state, but no, it's different here in Texas. To say I'm from Texas means something. I guarantee you, if you are somebody in health administration like me, and you went to UT, Baylor, or Texas A&M, they will value you over Harvard, right? So more so, it's about the network. And when Black people are a part of those networks, because I've I have plenty of black colleagues. They work for JP Morgan and all these type of
But
people.
you can say the opposite for different things too, right? So that
What do
was
you
the
mean?
only point I was making. You can say the exact opposite if you were in a different field that garnishes the Harvard degree more and you didn't go to Harvard, you can say the opposite as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I was gonna. That's actually one of the questions. It's like, does the school you go to actually matter? So Texans, look out for Texans. That's really what I'm saying. And it's not even just where you go; it's what you went to school for that really matters, right? So a lot of these engineers, computer engineers, all these people, they go work for companies, they leapfrog, and then they bring all their graduating class along with them, right? So that's usually something you see in a lot of these degrees because there are the high paying ones, that are the ones that have skills. The people tend to stick together more, right, than the social workers and the psychologists and the people that weren't licensed. So let me
So
get
so
Flex Henry. Go ahead,
so
Mr. Rich.
so Trigger Mike. Some of the things it's generational too. I mean, I don't know how many of us are the first to graduate from college.
Yep.
In our families, some black families have a little bit more tradition. I know in my particular father's tree, my brother and I I was the first to graduate, to tell you the truth. And so some of it is being preschooled by people telling you how to plan and what to plan for. And most of all, what kind of degree you should go to if you're going to go through school. Now, when I did it, really, it was just my own. I'm not anything special. I just dreamed of doing something different, right? And so I looked up the equal opportunity program. My cousin was an engineer. I knew that engineers made money when they got out of school, you know, and I wasn't really a particular bright student in high school. All I just know is that when it came time for me to graduate, I got a letter from the university saying, you're accepted contingent upon not going to summer school. And only thing I thought about was how I was going to get the hell away from all the women in my house, who was just driving me ape shit. I loved them all, but they was driving me crazy, right? So I had to get the hell out of there. And somehow I actually really, really did good in that final year on, AP physics and all that kind of shit. So when I went to college, I just kind of just said, hey, how am I going to step through this thing in one of the toughest degrees and still have some fun? Because I know I had to, get a job after that because I never wanted to go back home. That was my whole thing. I never wanted to go back home, not because I hated anybody, because I looked at it as a failure. And I'm gonna move on. So nobody, if you don't get that training, that mentor to talk to you, you kind of pretty much have to do it on your own. And let me tell you, when I left school and I got my job with the Department of Defense, I actually had to go back home for 2 weeks because it was a transition from Buffalo to Texas. But I had to go back home, but I had nowhere else to go. I cried like a baby for 2 weeks. It was a short-term thing, but the fact that I had to go back home because I had nowhere else to go, I cried like a baby. I felt like I was a failure. It was so stupid. It was really stupid because I knew I was leaving, but I just had to go back home and humble myself, take out the garbage and all that shit, man. Anyway. I'll never forget that. I'm 100 years old. I still can't forget that little 2 weeks. Anyway.
Yep. Flex Henry, how you doing, my man? What you got on the topic?
This is a very good topic, man, and I don't, unless you are going to be a doctor, a lawyer, working in STEM, a teacher, I don't see the need for you to go to college. I think everybody should get the education to a 2-year degree level, like get the basics out the way. But as far as going through the advanced stages where you're taking dedicated classes based on your major, if you are not doing those fields, you're just wasting your time. You're going to accumulate massive debt and you'll never be able to get to the point where you're at balance and be able to move forward. I have so many of my female cousins. I've at least 10 female cousins with degrees, and maybe one of them is doing really, really well. But all the guy cousins I know that don't have degrees, A lot of them make over six figures. So I don't. It's really weird how that works, and it's probably something to a social status. Like, listen, I got this on my wall and this on my wall and this on my wall, and I get to go to these type of dinner parties and associate with these type of people. But men are more tangible. Like, if you cannot guarantee me that if I do this and I get this type of outcome, I'm not willing to risk this. But I can go this way and it might take me a little longer, but I'm guaranteed to have this type of outcome. And women don't consider that. That's what I
Well,
have on that. I have three daughters, actually. I have three daughters. And you all know, you know which daughters you have that are college capable, the ones
yeah.
that's going to go there and not waste your time, the one that's going to go there and party, and the one that, they're just not interested. And I think you just have to be realistic because we're from the Cosby era and we all want to push our kids to go to college because that's just what we're supposed to do. Because if you go to college, everything's going to work out for you. But I think times has changed so much that there's really no guarantees in college, and you're going to be smarter, you're going to have a higher level of education, but there's no guarantee that your life is going to be successful. There's no guarantee that you're going to make six figures. There's no guarantee you're going to have the big house in the car unless you're going to be a lawyer, a surgeon, or a doctor, or one of those types. So you got to be very careful the way you spend your money.
Hey, man, that's facts. Like, that's 100% facts. So I don't understand the disparity between it either, but I don't think that people are noticing. And one of the things that I noticed from that stat that I pulled up, people will keep advertising how much money you can make over all of the years you have a college degree. But those aren't attached to real people. They're only attached to certain people. People keep forgetting that you have to actually get that job. If you go to school for engineering, you have to become that engineer and then work your way through the ranks. I'm looking at all the other stats that say black people aren't doing that in mass. The number one group of people not to be practicing on whatever they went to school for after 5 years. The wage gap, even though black women being the number one, I believe, from 2010 to 2020, the number one most enrolled people in school, wage gap didn't close a cent, right? So it's these are things that are like negating the fact that we're supposed to be progressing in college. That's why my stance is so aggressive, kind of against it. And especially like you said, Flex Henry, I know more men who did not go to college doing well. Every single one that's doing well is a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a clinical therapist of some sort. Those are the only people that went to college and have good jobs. Maybe a few healthcare administrators and nurses. I forgot. That's it. Everybody else
Nothing is guaranteed.
working at Nordstrom, working in the mall.
Yeah,
right?
Both my brothers are firemen. My brother, he was vice chief of the firemen. He never finished college. Yeah, he retired at 54, and he's living a life of Raleigh, man. He's having buying his $700 suits and all that stuff.
Do you know what makes this really impactful? A guy named Carlton. I went to high school with him, so he was about 2 years older. I think about a year or 2 years older. Just saw his pictures this weekend of his retirement ceremony from the Air Force. So when you say retirement ceremony, I saw his name. I was like, what? But he's been in 20 years. He's not 40, right? That's a black man with a family. Literally has the rest of his life to go do whatever. But he's getting what is that, retirement? And he probably got disability on top of it. Probably $5,000 a month easy, sitting down in a chair, right? Like, this is what I'm trying to push. This is how we get our families back. When men have these type of consistent resources, we create families. Our women stay with you see what I'm saying? Like, the college route kind of hurt us. I know some people are going to get upset that I said it kind of hurt black families. What are y'all thoughts on that?
I agree, because back when I went to school in the 90s, I graduated in 2000. They used to have classes where you can learn. They used to have cars that you can work on. They used to have certain skills that they used to teach you. There used to be adult schools after that taught you certain trades. And when we started pushing college, they kind of did away with all that. They didn't even have it anymore. No more home ec, no more cooking, no more the trades that you could even get taught for free. No more of those programs. All that went away in hopes that let's just have them go to college and do that. But we were more successful when we were building and using our hands and using our labor force. But you know, they made a decision, and we are where we are.
And look, Bob said to be an airline pilot, you no longer need a 4-year degree.
No,
So that's crazy.
that's
Listen,
insane.
and look, what is it? Texas Southern here in Houston basically just started a flight training program in the school. They're like, what are we gonna make you get whatever degree? Then you come to training. Let's just do it in school, right? It's all about the job. I mean, most of y'all would know, especially with a college degree. I was so dumbfounded to find out nothing that I learned was going to help me execute the job properly. Nothing.
That's
I basically just have to learn all over again.
It's super
It's crazy. It's crazy. So they're just like screening agents for a lot of these jobs to keep people out of it.
Right.
But it's supposed to tell people that you're smart. But no, I don't agree with it anymore.
I can only.
Airline pilots, because the pipeline of people wanting to become pilots has kind of dried up. That's why they got rid of the college degree requirement. And so I was actually speaking with some people in that industry and was telling them like, okay, so basically once the pool of white boys dried up, then y'all started taking away all the barriers to entry so you can, finally start letting some other people in.
Well, that's the way it
and
works.
that's happening in a lot of different things. Even like the military requirements are changing, because again, the pool of white boys is drying up. So you start to see those types of things, and a lot of those things are just ways of keeping people out of different industries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. But in as far as education, right? As far as whether or not the question is it worth it to go to college, the investment that you put into it, and I think I mean, like Mr. Rich was saying, there was a time back then where it was 100% worth the investment. You got a return on an investment, you got that degree, and then when you went out into the job market, your degree allowed you to get and negotiate for a higher paying job or a higher position within a company. Now that is kind of flipped on its head. Now it's more, yeah, you got the degree, but I don't really see any experience here. So it's like, well, that's because I was in school, idiot. Take out debt. Yeah, well, there's no experience. There's a degree. You asked for a degree. Yeah, but so now, so the school I went to was a vocational school, National Institute of Technology, when that was a thing back in the day. Now I went there, but my education was so expansive and it had nothing. I mean, I'm a software engineer now, but the foundation of me being a software engineer started with this like formal training. So I'm glad I got, now the school tuition was like 18 grand and then interest 20 something. So, but what I got from that school, I still kind of use those tools today because it is computer now. It's all virtual, but it's still with the basic fundamental principles of computing. So I do know how to shop for a computer and put it together myself and test it and it's like things like that. I went to school for that, so I'm still using the training that I did like 20 years ago in 2004. But but I'm I'm starting to discover how rare of an exception I am. Like how many people are still doing what they went to school for?
Not many.
No, man, not many. But when you think about it, it just goes back to degree choice. So, I see somebody in the chat that said only black people are talking about. I hope you realize only black people in America are pushing not going to college. Absolutely, we are. College is not something. Let me tell you something. College is not something that people should just go to out of choice. That's the problem with college in America. I want to do what I want. No, you should not. You should not do what you want. We should put a moratorium on all these underwater basket weaving majors. How are we going to be talking about going to school for certain majors, but everybody's lobbying to cancel $1 trillion worth in debt? That should tell you nobody's making money from these majors.
And also, that debt is not going to get canceled. I can tell you that right now. And they're just talking a big game, trying to win elections with that crap. It's like a carrot. They're dangling a carrot that's probably never going to be caught to be eaten. But on your point, Mike, I know I kind of cut you off for a second.
Yep.
It's more important now, if you want to go to college, that a parent or some mentor has to sit down and talk to people. You almost have to be counseled before you actually apply to go to a college. So you talk about things like which professions are the ones that you can possibly get a job, and what other professions are just playing around. And so, I'm gonna say this, but here's the thing: when you need to have order out of chaos, when you don't have any men in the house, for a lot of people, they don't get that guidance. They don't get the guidance to say, listen, let's sit down and let's map this out. If I'm gonna pay thousands of dollars, or you're gonna take that much loan, you got to have a plan going in. I know, PhD Diva, she said that already, but that's the way it should be now. Not just because some rote statistic says that you go to high school, then you go to college, because we all know that path is not for everybody. And even for the people that it is for, it should still be planned out a lot better than it is. Nobody should go to college haphazardly anymore, ever.
Absolutely.
I think part of the issue is that a lot of Black people don't have a lot of information on the different jobs that are available, right? So typically you'll, learn about jobs based on people that you know. And so, a lot of these jobs that are emerging as high paying and, high demand, there aren't a whole lot of Black people in them. So a lot of kids, when they're going to college, they don't even know that these jobs exist to major in subjects that will kind of funnel them towards those jobs.
But isn't that a Google search though, PhD Diva? Isn't that just a Google search?
I'm with PhD. I'm with PhD on.
Well, okay. Listen, I hear you, but we people find all the shit they want to find on the internet.
Mr. Rich,
so we can't just say.
For? The problem is if you don't know what to look for, you don't know what you're looking for.
Don't make me put on my Anton Daniels. We cannot play victim Olympics. Our Black people, we got to give Black people more credit than that. If you're college bound, you're not an idiot. So you know how to look up all the shit that you need to look up on the internet. So you don't say which profession, Google, which professions are the best ones to go to college for. That's a simple search.
Nah, Mr. Rich. So this is where the generation gap starts to widen a little bit in understanding, because that was definitely the understanding when you went to college, and you made a very bold statement that I have to challenge. You said there are not idiots in college. There are most definitely idiots in college.
No, that's
there
not what
are a lot of idiots.
But I'm talking about a person who's college bound. It's not like a person who's just. You got to give people a little bit more credit.
Now, idiots. I'm telling idiots go to college now. There is no way. Look. What will happen? So in college, see, this is a part of this like No Child Left Behind type thing. A lot of kids got grades they weren't supposed to get simply to pass them through high school. So by the time, and look, some of them don't even really want to go. They're just super invested, and their parent, because nobody has education, is like, I want a child with a college degree. So they go to the access office. Isn't that what it's called? Where they basically pay for them to apply to whatever school. They'll send applications to 50 schools, and one of them damn schools won't be dumb enough to take that dumbass kid. There are a bunch of idiots in college.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's still no excuse, man. If you think of the tech, just from a technology aspect, we have cell phones. What's up?
I said thank you, man, because I still don't see that.
Yeah, we have cell phones. We have walking miniature computers at our disposal 24/7. 20. You can look up anything you want We're
Yeah,
like
but
we
if
used
you
to
don't
like
know what you're
chaotic.
looking for,
We used to have to go to a library doing decimal system. We used to have Netscape internet, but it took like 15 minutes just to do anything. And then we have the
Listen.
Java
All right, Flex, hear me out. Hear me out. So I said in the monologue, college is for rich kids and smart kids. Smart kids, the people that college was traditionally for. The
Mhm.
rich kids would have parents and trusted people in the network do this stuff for them. So they were squared away. In fact, they knew where they'd be working, interning by when they were a freshman. All right, they had that squared away for them. The smart kids are diligent enough to search this information. That's what y'all are talking about. But we have to remember the kids below that don't even know what they're in school for. Many of them are just there. Do you know how many times? I don't even have a stat for this. These kids that change their major 15 times, these are the kids we're talking about.
Right.
They don't even know why they're there. I just want to try
they're
this.
going because their parents want them to go. A lot of kids are going just because
they are not just a Google search away. They have no idea why they're there. They want to try different things. They find out it's too hard. There's math involved, so they start to stray away from all math things. Then they end up underwater basket weavers.
Right.
I find interesting that, the most successful countries when it comes to education, they actually don't wait until college. In other words, they don't wait until the business of loans in order to start teaching kids the hardest of the hardest material. Actually, when it gets to college, it kind of gets a little bit easier, right? Because college is
They
the
teach
end.
the professors.
Exactly. Like, it's just funny to me. America is hey.
No,
I don't know,
America.
man.
No, you're on the right track, Lou. Let me finish your statement there. You're on the right track. This is something I did not know because I was my parents don't have much education because in Nigeria you have to pay for it. So if depending on your birth order, usually decides if you're going to go to school. So his eldest sister went to school, eldest brother went to school. By the third one they ran out, he's the fourth, right? So, he worked on the farm with his dad. So he really pushed formal education on us. Now, the funny thing about it is not having, I really suffered when we first got here to America. We moved back to Nigeria and came here. I suffered because my parents could not help me with my homework. And I noticed quick, fast, and in a hurry that the kids that did well already knew what the hell was going on before we got there. Before we got to school, they knew everything. So now I watch my kids obliterate anything because they go to Kumon and do it. Their mom teaches them multiplication tables at night. I got almost 4 and a 5-year-old doing multiplication, right? But they're gonna know everything before they get there. That is, American teachers don't even teach nothing. They just like reinforcing and, like you said, Mr. Rich, giving out information. They just test people that are already smart. That's the basic way to look at it. School just tests you. It doesn't really teach you much in American education. The schools are set up to where the students are supposed to know what's going on by the time they get there. Those are the students that do extremely well, and those are the students I believe should be in somebody's college. The rest of us should be, I'm sad to say it, laboring our way to the top through another career path. That brings me to the next question. Does anybody else have anything on this?
I mean, you said it all. I mean, laboring your way doesn't, it sounds better than what it is because people think that if you are not college educated, then you're going to just be outside or you're going to be stuck in retail for the rest of your life. But there's just so many avenues you can go to make money now. There's a lot of people, there's more people working from home than at any time in the United States ever. You don't even have to leave your house. I mean, customer service is going to hell, but I mean, still working from home, that's changed the game for a lot of things.
You want to know? You want to know something weird too? What's weird because I just mentioned my father. My father is the richest one out of all of his siblings. It's weird. He has the least amount of education, but he's the most successful in terms of money. He's the biggest entrepreneur out of all of them. And the funniest thing is that everybody else, I think his older brother is in finance, right? So he's like an investment banker type. Eldest sister, got married, didn't use her degree. Oh, in fact, she was in social work and all of that. But the one that had to work So that's how he came to America. He worked for the airline or for the airport, then worked for the airline, then found his way over here because he had an uncle that worked in oil and gas, right? So he snuck his ass into the country. Then, just started driving cabs. Then he used that. He actually got in an accident in the cab, got hit by a truck, got a huge settlement, opened a business, opened my mom's beauty business, all that stuff. So it's like it's usually the people that are the hustlers that end up with all the money, not the smart people or none of that. It's usually the hustlers. If you really look at it, and I'm not talking about Elon Musk and all these people, I'm talking about ground level, average people. A lot of the hustle, it just takes longer for them to make their money, but they make large amounts of money. Blue collar truck drivers make stupid money. Like they got all different type of people that just hustled their way to the top, and they have way more work experience than people who went to college by the time they get out. What do y'all think?
Amen.
Yeah, I know people talk a lot about like truck driving, but that's just not a healthy profession to be in. Look at most of those people. So I also am an herbalist.
On YouTube during the day.
Wow.
No, so I'm an herbalist also, and so a lot of the people that I work with are truck drivers because they have to. If you have like high blood pressure or diabetes, there's a card you have to take like a physical every year or two and get some type of card for you to be able to drive or whatever. So I work with a lot of truck drivers. It's just not a healthy profession to be in, and I'm a firm believer that health is the greatest form of wealth. And then the other thing is it gets to a point where you're like trading time for money. So if you're, on the road for long periods of time, to me, that's not worth it.
Well, I think
Men work.
Someone said, I was like, someone said it.
Yeah, but that's why y'all be dropping dead at like 45, 50.
I was about to say, someone said it, but this is the difference between men and women. This is the difference between men and women.
I'm talking to black men,
a truck driver should be on the road.
I'm half
for the
black.
entirety of their life.
Yeah, half black ain't black.
But to say that, like you said, health is the greatest form of wealth and all that, that's great and all. But if you think about someone who started truck driving in their 20s, and said, I'm going to do this for 5 years straight. I don't have any relationship right now, so I can get my own truck. Okay. So then I can be on the road half time. Then I'm going to get another truck so I can be on a third of the time. I think you're just giving light to all men have to do to make value out of themselves. No matter really what you're doing, you have to be hustling to get this value that women want so bad. And truck driving is just going to happen the same way.
The thing is that the for the most part, right, the professions that make more money are more high risk, and nobody can change nobody can change my mind about that. Even if you're a mortgage professional, like I am or I used to be, right? I'm in transition, changing jobs right now, whatever. Different corporations, same field, right? Do you understand the amount of stress when you're dealing with somebody that's buying a $1 million property and they put down $300,000 and you got a contract, you have all this stuff going on, and times that by 30 loans and all this stuff, 12-hour days? That's what it takes to get the money, right? Like, people don't understand that. The more money you make, the more stressed you're going to be. That's a fact. No matter if you're truck driving, mortgage professionals. I know an accountant that has panic attacks every year, right? Like, it's wild. It gets wild out here.
Yeah.
Also, if those men that drive those trucks and do those jobs, if they don't do that, we all starve. We don't have nothing. We can't get to anything. They get here on cargo ships and they go on those trucks. If we don't have longshoremen, we don't have seafood. We don't have none of those things. Those dangerous. Oh, we don't have those people that go on those high rises, on those large cranes. We don't have buildings. You don't have workspace. You don't have plumbing. Those people don't go in those trenches and install those large, massive pipes. And those are jobs that women are never going to do in mass.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I don't think anybody's arguing against the necessity of people doing those jobs. But I just feel like if you can do something where you sit at a desk work your little 40 hours a week in the air conditioning and still make 150, 170. Like, I prefer to do that.
And
Yeah,
that's
but
why women are out of shape like they are. Because the men
there's
get mobile and are physical and we move around, we use our bodies. And that's why men stay in shape.
Y'all don't,
'Cause
though.
women
That's
are-
the
Yeah.
thing.
we do. I do.
Well,
You
I have
know?
men are
well,
more, so another point to be made is that yes, the Americans in general are out of shape, but women do all the admin jobs and are still fat as hell. So I
Yeah,
don't
'cause
know.
you're sitting down.
if
It's like
we're gonna
sedentary work. So
we're
Yeah.
gonna talk
Yeah.
about fat people. I mean, women take the cake. I mean,
yeah, but either way, even if you're sitting
those
down
are
at a
the
desk
numbers,
and
right? Women like
No,
numbers,
I
right?
mean,
Those are
yeah,
the
it's a
numbers.
statistical fact if we're being
well, yeah,
real.
no. So what? Well, women are supposed to have more fat. Like, that's the essence of.
Oh no, you didn't.
Nah,
know.
we ain't having that.
muscles
We ain't
at?
having that.
Down
We ain't
female.
having that. We ain't having that. We ain't having that.
Where the
We ain't having
muscles
that.
at on the panel?
Y'all supposed to have children. Y'all not fat. Y'all
Y'all always
fat.
be coming for us on the panel. Ain't nobody about to show you this
I
one
can
lady
look at
belly
y'all
I
and
got.
see where they at.
Hey, listen,
Nobody
I
about
know,
to show you.
I know I'm fat, but if I ain't showing it to my wife, I ain't showing it to you guys either. You know,
We okay with that.
yeah.
No, but so the point is, though, if you like don't have to put yourself through all that strain and you can still make a decent amount of money, then for me, and I'm sure for most women, that's how we think. Like, if I can just sit in the office, do my little computer work, and still make, a good amount of money, then why would I want to go and like dig ditches or be in a truck all day or, do that type of thing?
I think it's I think that the problem is how women think. You think that having a six-figure salary is somehow easy because we sit here and do nothing. There's a bunch of stress behind that. There's a management, there's an infrastructure, there's deadlines, there's things that go wrong there's problems to solve. There's a whole bunch of like sacrifice and time put into even the so-called desk job that women still don't want to apply for because they got better things to do. They got their hair, they got their nails, they got their TV shows, they got their girls trip, they got their this, they got their that, they got their tanning, they got their this. They're not
that
at
job
work.
and still do all that. You can work that type of job and still do all
But
those
you
things.
can't do what I do. Mine's different than that. Mine's different than that.
That's
It's
your job,
100%
though.
logic. 100%
But I have
logic.
a desk job where I can, do all those things and still have my desk job and still earn six figures, and it's all good.
But PhD diva, you're not the average woman. Just like the average man can't do that. It's the average salaries and the median salaries are a lot lower than that. So
only 10% of the population makes over six figures.
Right. And so again, I think that kind of goes back to like knowing about different types of jobs and the avenues that are available to you in order to get into a position or get into a career that fits not only like your skill set but also like your lifestyle or work-life balance.
There's a reason why Black women, most of them, work for the federal government, right? Because we know that the federal government does things a lot slower than private corporations. There's a reason for that.
Okay. And so what?
Damn.
I'm just saying to your point though, because a lot of women in general, and my mom is Black, by the way, so I'm just putting that out there. They look for the path of least. They look for the path of least resistance, right?
Exactly.
And that's fine. To be honest, as I get older, I'm also looking for the path of least resistance, right? I just think that it's not fair to put that stigma out there on people that work desk jobs, and that because it's a desk job, it's not stressful. Because I can tell you now, it gets very, very, very stressful out here. If you're a programmer, if you're an accountant, if you're a mortgage broker, a mortgage professional, if you're in finance, all of these things have to do with the NMLS. There's a federal component. You have to follow all sorts of strict procedures, federal laws, and all this other stuff. You get, the compliance feds coming to your door every 2 years. I mean, this stuff gets real, right? So I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. So certainly. But again, so I think with what most women want to do in terms of like work-life balance, I mean, are there a lot of women in your field? What's the proportion breakdown? Is it more male than female?
It's more male than female.
There are more females in the process part of the field, but there are more males in the management part of the field. And the reason is because if you're in mortgage processing, you have to be very detailed oriented, and we know that females are very detailed oriented. So there are more females in that part of the field, the subset of the field, and there are more managers that are males.
Okay. And so the managing is where all the stress and the everything is?
No. So both areas have a lot of stress.
Okay.
I in my team, I was the only male that was part of the processing team. And I know that they're stressed out because I was stressed out. So I'm saying, regardless of the gender, desk jobs, there's a lot of stress out here to be had, right? So I'm just saying.
Okay. Choose wisely, ladies.
All right, let me get to these super chats. Ebo Sosa, $5. What's your opinion on people going into college well into their 40s? Depends on what it's for. 40 is, especially if you're a man, you got a good 25 years left in the workforce if you're the average person. In fact, it says 67, I think, is when men stop. So you got 27 years left. Just depends on what you're going to for. It cannot be one of those glory degrees where I just want to do it. I always wanted to. I hate when people do that. No, it needs to be for a purpose, and it also depends on who's paying for it. So, yeah, if you're 40, trying to step your game up, appreciate that, Mr. Rich, for the love of the game. Bob says Flex looks like he's in a Cadillac commercial. He did. $2 to be an airline pilot. You no longer need a 4-year degree. Yep. And they doing a lot of they must be. Yeah, they came all the way to the HBCU to start a program, so they must be really low. They put a whole program here on TV in Houston. TSU is having a program. You should have seen these fat boys and the cap and the alpha. I was like, oh damn,
looking like the Geeky Airmen or something.
They came down to us. I was like, they came down to us. It's not even that we can't do the job, but if you're gonna beg us to do it, then they short. They would rather leave us out of it completely. Oh, this says advanced perception, $5. You used to be able to work 30 years and get a pension, but they can't have us living that easy. They eliminated the plants. Send us to college. Terenzo Jones, $10 said, is she being serious? Men not in shape. According to who? Her? As a retired vet, she's way off in talking about men when women sell their bodies in war zones.
What? What does selling your body have to do with being in shape? And we know that 70% of black men are overweight or obese.
What? Oh, yes. God.
Yes, 70%. Yes, go look it up.
I'm sorry, football, basketball, baseball?
Yeah, it's 80%.
Okay, and that's a fraction of the percentage of black men. That's the fraction of the percentage of black men.
People in America are overweight. People in America are overweight.
Right, exactly.
People in America are overweight. I'll give you that. And
so why would that exclude black men? Why would black men be excluded from that?
How are we a majority? How is 70% of black men a majority?
Go look it up, because 70% of you all are either overweight or obese.
No, it's black people in general are overweight.
Because 80% of black women are either overweight or obese.
So the part that you got to look at what clinically overweight means. The large majority of Americans are clinically overweight, because in the military, it is hard to get it within weight standards in this country. Then you got to get taped. So even a person that's supremely buff, like got big muscles, will be considered overweight for their height. So it's like a ratio of height versus weight. So yes, a majority of people here are overweight. And we're not skinny people by any means. Then you go into clinically obese, and then you get into a different argument.
Right.
So
imagine being in the best shape of your life. You can see your abs, and then the guy who's taping you tells you you're overweight.
That happens. Look, I was 200. I looked like. Look, I used that weight too. So I was like 215 when I went into the military. In fact, I did that thing. When you're about to leave and you just start enjoying all your favorite stuff. I put on 15 pounds between me signing up and me leaving. So I was like 196. Then when they got there, I was 215. I was like, God damn.
Water weight, fat, and bone density.
But
look, after boot camp,
they're like, yeah, you're overweight.
Yeah. After boot camp, I went down to 194. And then right around like the end of A school, I was a jacked 200. I looked like Apollo Creed. I was jacked. And then I went to get weighed. They talk about you're overweight. Like everybody was like, huh? But he shook his head like, you know, that's how it works. Then they're gonna tape your neck. They're gonna tape your waist. They're gonna tape your chest circumference. So it's like, oh, and then they're gonna be like, okay, you're fine. You're within standards. So that could also mean overweight. But when we talk about obese, that's your waistline getting out of control, your thigh line getting out of control, your neckline getting out of control. And that's where, you know, more of that fat argument is supposed to be had. Let me get to the next question. We'll start with Mr. Rich on this one. What are some of the best alternative career paths for young people?
Whether they go to college or not.
Yep. Other than college, really.
I mean, you listen, I think the folks who know how to do vocational type activities, fix a car, plumbing, anything physical, brick masonry or whatever. If you know how to do that stuff, where they used to try to teach you that in school, you pretty much when they start firing people, you can go make money based on the skills that you have. And so and that wasn't me. I was just purely academic, but I can see I think those things need to come back. I mean, there's no money in those schools. I remember they used to have workshops in high school and stuff like that, and all the guys who weren't college bound, and some ladies were in the workshops. They were building and making things. My
Yep.
cousin, he was a whiz with cars. So anytime he had to make money, he was able to go fix people's cars, get parts, do all kinds of stuff. So, those are the things that are like lost. We all became like, kind of sedentary, people working behind the desk kind of stuff. So, I admire the guys who get on a scaffold and go up 1,000, 100,000 feet in the air and do all that crazy stuff. It's dangerous work. They pay you for it, but these guys are handymen, or handy women. You got to be able to do that stuff again. So I would encourage people, if you don't think you're college bound, learn a skill that's marketable.
Nice.
And and then you can do a combination of both. You can have a job, but it doesn't have to be as high paying if you have your other hustle on the side.
Indeed. EBD.
So this was a question I've been pondering for maybe a few weeks now. And the solution that I came up with, an idea that I had was that, yes, vocational kind of acts as a stopgap measure to where the things that we were studying in high school actually prepared you for the real world. I mean, you're talking about home ec, you're talking about shop, woodworking, things like that. So if we're going to say that these things are no longer going to be in school, which are necessary things to learn in school, but we just don't, somebody somewhere says, hey, this isn't needed anymore. What I thought, if I had stupid money, is to create an idea where we have camps during the summer. You got man camps and you got women camps. And in the man camp, people can go there and you get your hands dirty. You work with wood from a professional carpenter. You work on cars from professional mechanics. And you just get your hands dirty in a whole bunch of different things for a couple of months. And then you can come back to the real world. And it just happens every year. Now, I would think that would be far more beneficial than any type of formal education, because you can find the niche of what you actually want to do and what you're good at and then pursue it. So you may be going to some facility during the summer, but you're getting acclimated with some of the basics. And from there, you'll find out, hey, I'm not good at this, but I am good at that. So it's going to be a lot easier for a man or a woman to pursue what they really want to do if they have this facility that they can go to where they can kind of discover themselves.
Bet. Who did I have in here before? PhD, what you got on it? What are some of the best alternative career paths for young people?
Well, I think one alternative career path that is, as long as there are people, there are going to be people dying, unfortunately. And so like funeral director or, people who deal with that type of stuff, that seems to be a good career path. Like apparently funeral home people make quite a bit of money. I mean, if you have the stomach for it. Also, I'm sorry. Like Inner Black Dragon was saying, a lot of the trades or skilled trades and being able to work with your hands. One thing I think it would be beneficial for Black people to do is to kind of decide like what is it that we want to specialize in. Like other groups seem to, like if you're Jewish, you go into law or you go into like finance or something. Asian go into technology. Even Hispanics. They go into, construction or agriculture. And a lot of times when I'm getting my house stuff done to my house, if it's a Hispanic contractor, they'll show up and they'll have their children with them. And so the children are actively there working and learning how to do this stuff. And so I just feel like it would be beneficial for us to kind of get a niche and say, this is what we want to do. I know, Nigerians tend to be very successful because they like to go into like medicine a lot, engineering a lot, So I think it would be beneficial for Black people to kind of hone in on a couple of different career fields and kind of specialize in that.
You know what? I like that idea. So I don't know if anybody, I'm about to nerd out real quick. I don't know if anybody knows that show Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Yes.
You see how it was like the Fire
Yep.
Nation, the Earth Nation. So the funny thing is that I feel like a lot of Black people don't understand that. That's why I said college is kind of a war zone for Black men, especially. And to be chosen last, not necessarily because you are less qualified, it only hurts you in that arena. So it should make you want to go somewhere where you're accepted first, right? There's nothing wrong with being like this is why I'm saying it. Really, I got to preface it this way. When I look at the Mexicans, man, geez, they have just Houston, and let it be your example. They have a stronghold on home building industry, the carpentry, everything. So not only do they control the more blue collar side of it, they work their way up to control the whole process, the whole thing. So now you don't see anybody in Virginia, where I'm from. When my parents built their house, there were white men building it, and it took forever. It was white and Black dudes building it. Ain't nobody ever built a house faster than some Mexicans. Sorry. I've seen them do 120 days from foundation to finish. 120 days, right? So who gonna get chosen to build more homes? The Mexicans. So it's like Black men need to get together and be like, I don't care how blue collar it is. I don't care how it works. We are going to do one industry to where everybody comes to us for this shit. That's my thoughts. All right, CBN, what are your thoughts?
I wouldn't agree with you to say Mexican, but out here in New York City, I think the Caribbean and taking over in that kind of
Hey, it could be different groups in different places.
Yeah, and you're correct, because down south it's mostly the Mexican. But when I come out here in New York City, if you're not a Jamaican, he's from Trinidad. If you're not from Trinidad, he's from Guyana. They're heavy in construction. I'm like, God damn, like, you didn't come off the island, you didn't go to school. You know what to do. I was like, okay, you know what? I didn't get my hat off to them, because I was thinking the same way too. I thought Mexican control construction. That I think the Caribbean start to step up more. But it's more so on the north region of the country. The south is mostly Mexican, hands down. Don't get me wrong, I'm an IT specialist. I went to trade school. But what I did remember doing history research, you usually had trade study in high school all the way back until the 15 and 60s. And the only thing I understand why they removed it, because the Black community back then was no different from the Jewish community. When they graduate from high school, they got a skill trade. Either you're doing construction, you're doing plumbing, you're doing painting, you're doing welding, whatever you were good at, they were hands-on good. But that era, it come like passed away, and the only people that keep that one up were the Jewish community. Mexican community, hands-on. I see that down in the south in Florida, in Georgia, in Virginia. I see that. But up north now, lately, the Caribbean stepping in. And this is why I'm trying to tell people, I'm like, I don't have social media platform that teach kids, but I speak to the kids that come up from my son, my daughter's school. I ask them questions. What's your end goal? What you want to do? College not everything. You want to do welding, get into welding. You want to do auto mechanic, get to auto mechanic. People making money doing this one. You do construction, you can do this. The problem is we're not pushing education in multiple lanes like it's supposed to be, because what I'm hearing, I want to be the next rapper. Like, you got to be kidding me. You know how much money you're dropping away? MTA, transit, are giving out contract to minority and women to do construction on their transit system. You know how much money is there? If you have your own little business and you help them fix their subway, or you help them build this, or you build that, that is a lot of money in your pocket. And why I always push.
Yeah, you know what it is too, because look, when we talk about the rappers and stuff, I don't even get down on them too much about that. Because here's the thing, what's pushed on them, they want to do what they see other successful black men doing. That's the way I see it. That's why they spend all those hours in the studio. So that's why it's going to take more education and more men coming out and saying, listen, this is not a scalable trade. I know your homeboy got on. I know you know such and such that got signed and he left you behind and you think you got better skills than him. But it's not a bankable skill at this time, right? Because I got a cousin that's a doctor and he's older. So everybody know his story. He's the one everybody's like, be like him. And, when I was young, he wanted to be a DJ. And I don't know if you know anything about Nigerian parents. They laughed him out the damn room. And, he was getting all upset. And, I think it was my dad. He was either my dad or his brother that went to him, because it's his sister's kid, that went to him and said, you can absolutely be a DJ.
Trigger.
You can build a studio in your basement with all the money.
Trigger, don't get me started.
He lives in New York. He lives in New York, in Brooklyn. When you go to his house, this dude has like a $30,000 studio in his basement, but he's a doctor. So they put it to him like, look, you can do whatever you want to do, but you're going to do it from a position of strength, not out here struggling, not out here trying to get gigs. First off, he's terrible. He's a terrible fucking DJ. I'm sorry. So first off, he's terrible. I was like a novice DJ, right? I threw parties, so every once in a while I learned how to mix and all that. I can mix better than him. I can scratch better than him. And he's been doing this stuff for like 20 years, trying to work on his DJ career. He's a terrible freaking DJ. So thank God for my dad. And
Trigger, you got me started. Nigerian parents are brutal. You know that.
Yeah.
Either you're a doctor, either you're a banker, or you're a lawyer.
This is the funny thing about it. You know what do people call interventions for in other cultures? For like drugs and stuff like that. This dude said he wanted to be a DJ. They called an intervention on his ass. Uncles and stuff coming up out of the woodwork. It was hilarious. I was only like 10.
I had the same thing happen to me. I was in Philadelphia. I want to join the Navy. I got an intervention call without warning. I come home from school. I see this uncle. I see that uncle. I see the uncle. I see my mom. I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah, they verbally jump you. It's crazy.
Verbally. Everybody who don't know anything about African parent, when they call intervention huddle, you don't see it coming. You will never see it coming. Out of the blue, unannounced. You walk home, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You act like you committed a crime or something. Yeah. They want to talk some sense out of you.
Let me get Trey in here, because I know you've been in the field quite a bit. What are some good alternative paths for these young ass people that ain't got no business in college?
I know one of the career fields that I asked about, because there's just one particular place that I always go to, and the escalator is always broke. Like, it's always broke. Oh. And so one day I asked a guy who was repairing the escalator, I asked him, like, how much money do you make? I'm just curious. And he said he makes close to $200,000 a year repairing escalators. And I said, well, do you own the company? He's like, nah. He's like, nah, I don't own the company. I just work for him. And I was like, well, how many escalators do you guys repair? He said somewhere between 40 and 50. They have and they literally come out and repair escalators and maintain escalators. and they also do elevators, and they do the lifts that are in people's homes. They maintain the lifts in people's homes, and no college degree needed. Obviously, he had to go to school, he had to go to a trade school, but there was no college degree needed for that. And this guy's making $200,000. And what I also noticed is that they seem to be color deficient in this industry. So that's, to me, is an alternative. Look at that. That's something that you can be doing, because the place that I go to, it has like a cart, like you can put the cart on the lift, and it'll lift the cart up to the next level for you. They also repair those as well. It's a $200,000 a year job. Him and the guy that was working with him, they both make $200,000 a year repairing these escalators. So that's an alternative. There's a ton of alternative jobs out here for our people that they don't need to go to college for to be successful. But the question is are they interested? I am not a firm believer in pigeonholing our people into having certain jobs, because if that were the case, I have a cousin who works for NASA now. And while he was in college, he went to Haverford. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Haverford, but it's supposed to be one of the best engineering schools in the country. But while he was there, he came up with some program that NASA literally called him, was like, yo, we need that program. Like, immediately. We need that program. He gave him the program with the stipulation that they have to give him a job. So he's 23 years old. He's making over $150,000 working for NASA. Well, if he would have got pigeonholed, he would have done what I did, because his father was a police officer and I was a police officer.
Yeah.
Right. So that would have been his career. His career track would have been into law enforcement somehow. So he chose to go a different route. I think sometimes we do our own kids a disservice by not allowing them to sort of kind of pick the path that they want to go on. Obviously, we have to guide them. Like the DJ story you told. Yeah, you can't be no DJ in my family either. That's not happening, right? But can we kind of guide them? Yeah, we can guide them. And like I said, he wanted to be an engineer, but the rest of us are civil servants. We were firefighters, police officers, teachers, government workers. The rest of us in the family, that's what we did. Had he followed that path, that's the path he would have went down. But there's a ton of other jobs. I think we just have to look for them and stop thinking, hey, I can't do that job. You absolutely can do that job with the proper training.
So here's where I got to disagree with you, man, because when I say pigeonhole, so remember at the beginning I said college is for smart kids and rich kids. Smart kids will always fall out of that frame. Like the smartest in your family will always gravitate to things that are just challenging their intelligence. You know what I mean? I think but have you seen what happens when you let kids pick their own stuff? And let my culture be the example. You do not let them. You basically they don't know what they want. I think the fact that article that I read where the professor of job labor said they will pick the lowest earning thing. They will pick the path of least resistance. I would rather my kid be a police officer or a fighter or something with a pension, because the part that I'm getting at, I look at the totality of the human experience. If your kid, no matter if your kid is 25, 26, 27, still trying to figure stuff out, for some reason we forget that these kids are still making circumstances they're going to have to be responsible for. So now you don't have a job or a good job yet, but yet you got a kid on the way. That's the shit I'm trying to prevent from. And that's the shit that's definitely going to happen in the black community. Our women lead in number of births before 22. So it's like, regardless, you got to get it together quick. Y'all better get an established hierarchical pay structure, whether it's government, police, military, because the circumstances are going to come either way. And if you let them pick, they will, I'm telling you, at least 75% of them are going to become underwater basket weavers.
No, listen, Trigger Mike, I completely agree with you in the sense of there has to be guidance. And I can tell you, because my sister's a prime example. My sister went to Delaware State. She changed her major 3 times. She ended up becoming a dance teacher in Los Angeles. She never needed the degree to become a dance teacher, but she went to college. She's got a ton of debt. She's got a useless degree that she doesn't use, and she's not even in her career field. This is what I'm talking about when I say that they're choosing, but there was no guidance. Well, there was no guidance because nobody was there to show her, hey, which way are you directing? Well, my passion is dance. Okay, well, you don't need college for that. So I do agree with you. We can't just let people blindly choose because they just do wild stuff. But if we can sort of some way kind of guide and curb, we can actually help them.
No, I think it also, when we do help them, I think it comes in the beginning. So that's why I said I'm watching my kids closely, because the person that I was arguing this point with, a few days ago over the weekend, they were like, "Do you want your kids to go to college?" Yeah, depending on what it's for and who they are. Like literally, some kids just aren't built for it, and I'm gonna let my kids know. You know, if it's my son, I'm like, just because your sister went to college, don't mean your hard-headed ass gonna go. You right? I'm gonna put you in a discipline of a structure of discipline first, right? Because that's what's needed for most boys, or you know, they can get paid while they earn a skill. They only got to do 4 years in the military to get the full GI Bill benefit, right? So, you know, stuff like that. But let me get to some other people. Demetrius, what's going on? What you got on it, bro?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, so I'm a lot of what everybody said, I agree with. One of the things that I think, and the sister kind of leaned on it, is just master something. I think I don't want to, like you use the word pigeonhole. I don't want to say just find one thing, but I do kind of want to say find one thing and just master it. Learn A to Z that particular trade or skill or what have you, and I think that you would reap the massive benefit from it. And I don't think a lot of us do that with things that we're a part of. We just kind of learn enough to make money, but not really master the field that we're in. And like someone said about the music industry, if we get into the engineering and so many other aspects of the music industry, I know everybody want to be in front of the camera, but you know, behind the camera, the engineering, the break building stages. I know cats, through other people know how to build stages and the lighting and all that. It's a lot of money in that. Now you don't get the fame of being in front of the camera, but you definitely make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Because you see a lot of white cats behind the scenes building those stages out, building the lighting and all of that. You go to these concerts, you see white dudes running these big engineer boards. You know what I'm saying? With the sound, with these big Beyonce concerts, there's gonna be a lot of white cats behind the scenes putting that together. It's just kind of how do you break into that. A lot of times is how we what we try to figure out. So for the most part, I just say whatever it is from the STEM field. If you want to go the IT route, if you want to go to Job Corps, because I work with inner city kids, so Job Corps is an option for them. But a lot of times they send them to hospitality. Now that's cool, but again, learning the ins and outs of hospitality, not just being at the front desk saying, "Hey, how you doing? Let me check you in," but really learning how to actually run a hotel from top to bottom, the whole infrastructure. We have to start learning how to do that. And it's a couple more other things too I want to say. But but the most important thing for me is whatever you get into, completely master it. As they say, the 10,000 hours, put 10,000 hours in it, master it. And the one thing to the brother Trey, when he's about being a police officer and get into those fields, this is another thing that I don't think Black people do well, is show people how to reap the benefits of working, far as your pension and your retirement, and strategizing from day one. A lot of times we don't learn until like 10th year what to do far as your investment. I used to Uber, and this girl told me that before she got her first check out of college, before she even seen what it looked like, because her grandmother was an investor, she started investing her check. So she was like, I never saw a whole check. I don't know what a whole check looks like, because initially she just started investing soon as she got a job where she was making decent money. So I would say, even for those who work, because most of us are going to work, to teach people how to from day one, how to benefit. You become a cop, you 18, 21, I believe I'd be 21. From day one, what's the benefits of being a police officer? How you can buy a house and get the discounts or whatever because you live in the neighborhood, different things, different perks like that. And just how to set your retirement up from day one, so you don't have to do 30, 40 years. You could do maybe 25 or whatever. So just little things like that. I think the things that we already have around us that we're not even realizing, learn how to actually work that and master that. And I think that that's a good part of it too. And that's what is the last thing. Brother had brought up the escalator and elevator thing. I live in DC, so I see it's a lot of building going on, and that's the thing about that industry. The white boys definitely have figured out how to corner that market. You know what I'm saying? Not to say you can't get in it, but they've definitely cornered that market because of the kind of money you make. Now I see a lot. Metro make a lot of money. The transit system, I know that's an easy way to get the game through them. But privately, it can be a little hard because the white boys got that game corner. And another game that the white boys got cornered is the commercial side of plumbing, the commercial side of electrician. If we can get on the commercial side, when we running wires in these big buildings, it's bread and that. So, and not to say you can't do the residential side, whatever, you can make money there too. But the commercial side, it's a lot of bread, and there it's just trying to get in that market to be able to tap into that money.
I mean, you spoke volumes on what needs to happen. So when we say, like, listen, before we have any community discussion, this is why I usually start off with, man, we got to get men and women to be in the same house, right? So it's a group of groups, it's a group of families, group of fathers that can band together and be like, I got this trade. Bring your boys, bring your cousin, anybody you know don't got a job, I'm gonna teach them to do this skill. And that's why I made the Mexican thing, because I was the second house in my section. I think there's like 32 homes in this section. I watched them. I work from home. Right out this window right here, I watched them build every single house. So I saw the dude that was coming. He knew them. I didn't know he's a construction manager for the home builder. These are his boys building the house. It's like his team. He got the top down structure done. Like, whoa, he getting money from the job, being a construction manager. He's the one these are his boys probably getting kickbacks off of the construction itself. I was like, good God almighty, they got the market corner. But I didn't know till he kept bringing pizza, dapping them up, and he brought one of them daughters to him. I was like, oh snap, he knows these dudes. So we got to figure out, basically the family structure. They probably his cousins, people brought to him by his relatives. It's crazy. They got a top-down method of getting that bag. So you're right about that.
Absolutely. And even something that me and my buddy, we joke about it all the time. If you just learn how to do brakes and rotors, you can make 6 figures. Just something simple. You ain't even got to touch the engine. Just doing brakes and rotors, you can make a killer.
They got mobile brake service.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, I come to your crib. The gig economy, that's why I'm saying this blue collar, if we don't stop looking down on blue collar dudes, because they're about to be the next millionaires with the gig economy. Now, they don't need a middleman no more.
And that's why a lot of brothers too, I'm glad you said that too, because a lot of brothers, black men, it's a shame that come with the hard labor. And I feel like that's why a lot of us have kind of shied away from it. Because
of course it is.
Saying, you can't, you at the club, like, hey, man, what you do for a living? I do brakes and rotors. You know what I mean? It's like, but then when you show the bank account, it's something different. But just the title of it, it sounds like, oh, girl, he just brakes and rotors. I mean, I do kind of need my brakes and rotors done, and brother be like, oh, man, I want to be a rapper. Or I want to do something that's going to put me in front of the camera, that's going to make me look like the man. I want to be the club promoter type of thing.
Yep.
Let me say something here. Let me shout out to Don Q, because he have a construction business in Texas, and he do just that. He's like a construction manager on his own site in multiple locations. And he told me and a few other guys in closed door, like, yo, this is what I do. This is how I make my money. Because out here in New York City, I've seen brothers who got small construction companies and they hire people to do these type of things. And I've seen their paycheck. I've seen their bank account. And I've been telling young people, stop the nonsense. Blue collar are undercover big ballers. They don't play around with that money. Either be plumbing, either be carpentry, either be painting, in construction. Like Demetrius said, these white boys know how to corner the market, because you have some constructing company that are very global. And when I mean global, let me break it down for you guys for you to understand. If you find out which construction company is global and they have a overseas construction site they need to work on, they can have you fly out there, work there for X amount of years. You might even know nothing about it. By the time you come, you got a couple of million in your bank already before they send you to another location in another region. They go around the world, get contract from government, globally, and personal private investing people who want to build real estate. Who build real estate in Africa? The construction company. How they getting paid? You can figure that one out. Same thing with plumbing. Same thing electrical. I mean, IT, yes, I understand, but it's more than just that alone. In what I do is either consider blue collar or white collar, depend on the level of it. What I've been trying to teach these young boys in my community, particularly for my son's school and my daughter's school, is you have to have your plan. What is your 5-year plan? What is your 10-year plan? What is your 2-year plan? What do you think yourself to be good at? Let's forget all the smoke and mirror. Are you good in art? Are you constructive? Do you have organizational skills? What do you think you're good at? Work on these things first, and you know what's going to lead to next. Because I had to talk to my daughter's teacher last week about her behavior, right? And I spoke to her in front of her teacher, letting her know, I'm not that type of dad. I don't tolerate that. We African folks, if we hear that kid get out of hand, we step in. We're trying to correct it and make you put back in the right path. I told my daughter, I'm here to invest in your future. That being said, let me know what you need. Want to be good in art? Yeah, I'll invest in your art career. Want to be in construction? I'll invest in construction career. I'll make sure I find the right people who can sit you down and teach you the game. The problem with our Black people, we need to stop chasing the smoke and mirror that you see on TV. Because let me
stop. Can I stop you right there with the smoke and mirrors? Because I have something to piggyback off of that. What about the glamour and glitz of the kind of job you have to attract your mate? Right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't say this in this little fishbowl that we're in, but do you think that men are not clamoring to these hard jobs because they can't impress a woman because they're blue collar type of jobs?
Demetrius spoke to that.
Right.
You also got to think about it. You also got to everything we do is necessarily to get a woman.
A lot of stuff, right?
Unfortunately for us, our women look down on blue collar workers. They
absolutely not. Absolutely not. As a woman,
here comes terrorism. Here comes terrorism.
Skills is extremely valuable. Like no,
you don't stop the cap.
Stop.
No.
PhD. You got a bunch of men. You got a bunch of men. The men telling you that our homeboys,
I'm a woman.
Our
and so I know if women look down. Like, so this is the thing. If you have construction skills and you can fix stuff in a woman's house, like that's a very valuable skill. Like any woman who's a homeowner values a man who can fix shit. Right?
You want him to fix it, but you don't want him to be the actual carpenter. You want him to be the construction manager or the owner of the company. Stop the cap.
Bingo.
Right.
Bingo.
Which lies the difference. That's the difference.
Bingo.
That's the difference. You want to be the owner and not just an employee. You ain't going for the employee. You're not going for the employee. You're not going for the Wingstop cashier. You're not going for the overnight stalker at Walmart. You're not going for the gas station attendant. Hang on. You ain't going for the Starbucks barista dude. You ain't going for your waiter. You're not going for any of these average men at all.
Who has construction skills? Starbucks barista. Okay, I wouldn't want to.
He can make a coffee.
I don't drink.
He can make your favorite coffee you like. You ain't going for him.
I don't drink coffee. I only drink herbal tea. So
I'm pretty sure you looked that up as well, but you ain't going for him. He ain't got your phone number. You ain't got a phone number.
I don't need those skills in a man.
Right.
I do it myself.
PhD Diva. Mm-hmm. Would you date a man that is an electrician? Mm-hmm. He only has a trade school certification to be an electrician. Mm-hmm. He works for a company that pays him $60K, and he's been in the job for 10 years. And he works on Fiverr and what's the other one? Thumbtack on his off hours. Would you date him? Introduce him to your girls as an electrician. Don't put any fancy title behind it. He's an electrical engineer. He's a wire engineer. Technic. No. Would you introduce him to your friends as an electrician? Yes or no?
I mean, I might introduce him as an electrician. What do you mean by date, though?
Hey, oh my God, bro.
Oh my God. Okay. It proves our point right there. Right there. You hear that? You hear that? Wait. To the average man, to that electrician who's out there, you hear that? You hear that? What do you mean date? What do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean? You ain't checking for him. You ain't checking for him.
No. I'm saying, like, how serious?
Hold on. Let me tell you something.
You looking down at him.
Okay. No.
Like, are we just dating?
What you mean? How
Would
serious?
you accept a marriage proposal from that guy?
No.
Then what
So
the hell
what are
you
we
talking
talking about,
man?
So what are we talking about?
So you just talking smack. So you just talking smack. You just talking smack. That's all right.
A lot of black
That's
women
all right.
would, though. A lot of black women would.
No, they
You
won't.
ain't one of them.
No.
Wait. Let me tell you something real quick. PH Diva, I don't know why you say such a thing, because I remember almost 15 years ago when I was doing security. I met a guy who let me know the inside scoop about all these trade workers. An electrician who's under a union. You know how much they make per hour?
He just said that he makes $60,000.
I know, but let me ask you a question. You know how much the electrician make per hour? And they're under. You know how much they make per hour?
Yeah, but that's not the situation he just gave.
No. Answer the question. Do you know how much they make per hour?
I said he works after work for himself. I said that. Remember that?
Because if you notice, they got told me electricians starting off in the union make around between $35 to $45 an hour on W-2. That is almost equivalent what we IT professionals make.
Okay. Well, I make a
high
lot
level.
more than that.
And that's the thing you don't get. Do not look down on blue collar work.
I'm not looking down. Just because you won't date a person doesn't mean you look down on them.
Here's the thing.
Let me tell you how.
Let me tell you. There are guys in my neighborhood who do construction.
Let me tell you how I feel.
They look busted. People make fun of them. But what they do, they live out here on purpose.
If they go to work
and
every
have
day.
their house further from here, so people don't know what they really have.
No, I mean, if you go work every day, I don't see any need to make fun of anybody, regardless of what they're doing, if that's what they want to be doing. But just because you want to, don't mean you look down on them.
This is why I admire like a lot of foreigners, because I know a lot of foreigners where the wife has most wives. The funny thing about it is that y'all are not doing blue collar work simply because y'all do admin work. So the reason, if I was a woman, I would not look down on a blue collar worker, because if I went through the pandemic and noticed who was working versus who was not, God bless blue collar workers. The lifeblood of this country, the essential workers, are blue collar workers.
Shout out to
The only people who didn't have to worry about where their next meal was coming from were blue collar workers. In fact, many of them made more money during the pandemic. So if I'm a woman, even if I'm in a high paying administrative job, because as we can see now, Twitter done laid off some thousands, Facebook done laid off some thousands. Who else? There a bunch of people done laid off thousands. Google done laid off some thousands.
Twitter.
The people that's unaffected by it.
Facebook.
Trucker Will at work right now. You think he give a damn about some Google? Look at him. Head just bobbing from the road bumps. All right,
man. Women have proven that they don't care about
money
that.
no matter what.
Hold on. See,
Wonderful.
You know what's crazy? Is the fact that we got countless videos of women literally laughing at the average man every day.
Okay, the average,
but the average man is a police officer, which starts off at 55.
That's not the average man then.
That is an average man.
The average black male earns less than $50,000.
No. That's the starting point.
I think all men earn
on average. When we talk about average,
but I'm talking about y'all.
We're talking about police officers. We're talking about plumbers. We're talking about Havoc. We're talking about electricians that you just bypassed on. We're talking about truck drivers. Okay, truck drivers, which all I got is a GED, but I make more money than a lawyer.
Okay,
y'all bypass these men. Y'all literally laugh at these men.
I don't think anybody's laughing at. Again, if you have a job and you a hardworking person, I don't think anybody's laughing at a man because he's a truck driver or an electrician.
Oh, yes, they are, because you know what comes with being a truck driver? They always say, well, truck drivers, they out here cheating. They got other families across the country.
Well, I mean, a lot of them do be cheating, right? Is that a lie?
Goes on a day, and this is the crazy part, too, is that y'all want these men to make money, but then when they out here really making money, then y'all always complain, talking about you work too much.
Right.
I need you to be home more. I need you to be. You can't like it's either You want a bum ass nigga? Hey, I just watched a video of a dude that literally said I got more pussy being a bum ass nigga than anything, and all they really wanted to do was what? Change it. They just wanted to make. They just wanted to change it. So come on.
Well,
I wanted to say you cannot sit here and continue lying about this whole the regular woman the average man, because that's bullshit. And titles do matter to y'all. Right. Yes, titles matter.
I don't care about
you would literally bypass. Y'all will bypass a guy that is a plumber who's making $100K plus.
I don't think any women would. I don't think a woman would bypass.
Nah, they would. I'm gonna tell you why a lot of women. I'm gonna tell you why a lot of women would, because a lot of women don't even know exactly how much men make. Right? Yeah. See, a lot of women don't factor in overtime, which a lot of women, especially in the nursing field, they don't make their money off of straight 40 hours. If they did straight 40 hours, they would be struggling. Police officers, I know in Washington, D.C., make a ton of money because they be on that clock. So that's another. Let me just finish. Let me just finish right quick. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of women also turn guys away because they don't even know what guys make on a lot of these jobs. And we always got to factor in taxes. No matter what I know you got a PhD, sister, and you could be making $175,000 a year, but you already know what them taxes look like. Mm-hmm. And a brother bringing an extra 80 grand in the house, right? Yeah. I told the sister this on Clubhouse one time. If I walked up to you and gave you $80,000 in a duffel bag cash, you telling me that ain't a lot of money? That's a lot of money. And it could be used to contribute to the household, even though it's not $175,000. So it's all about putting things in perspective. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, okay, his $80,000, he paying taxes too. So it's not $80,000 in a duffel bag. And if you're
he also he can side money he can side money too when you
add two bills with his $80,000. Like, to me, that's not a good trade-off. But the thing is, all that overtime, like, to me, like, you want to have a life too. So earning more because you're working overtime, for me, just because I like to travel and everything, I want him to be able to make a nice amount off the straight 40 a week.
What did I tell you?
Like, that's it.
Didn't I say literally bypass the guy that's making 50?
Here's the thing, and that's where the title, what PhD, that's where the title comes in at, right? Because you want a brother to make this amount of money and be able to travel too. A lot of times when a brother is the actual construction worker, he just can't up and go versus him running the construction company, right? So that's where a lot of what the brothers are saying with the title and where you position that in the company, that also, makes a difference, too. You know what I mean? And if we really tell the truth, open up and really look at our check stubs or whatever, we all ain't nobody really making money like they say they making, even with a straight 40 hours, because ain't too many companies paying you, even with a PhD. I don't know how much you're making, but ain't too many companies paying you $175. A lot of times with people with PhDs, they got other jobs, they got other gigs, because like if you're a psychologist, you could be on a board and make money. Because like I work at group homes, so you got to have a PhD on certain group homes. So they don't really work. They're just kind of there to sign off on plans and different things for the clients or whatever. So they got 2 or 3 of those going on, and that's how a lot of times these cats be making their money. They ain't just working 40 hours somewhere and just making 200 grand. They hustling overtime in a sense too. Just, signing off on different programs and different things like that. So everybody hustling at the end of the day. It ain't really like what people saying it is.
No, that's absolutely not true. There are a lot of people who work 40 hours and go home and do.
No. I didn't say that. I said make money. I said make it like 175.
Let me debunk that argument, because I could do math. PhD, women do 40 hours and go home. Mm-hmm. That is not the average man. Let me qualify this statement. There are millions of women in the workforce more than men, and women do not outwork men in number of total hours worked, even though there are millions more of you. Right. Men do not work a straight 40, especially when we're single. You see what I'm saying? So look at those numbers, not just the numbers as they're stated. Women love to work 40 hours. We know y'all don't like to work, Y'all don't have the
At
capacity
all.
for work that men do. Like, this is why I don't understand this independent woman argument. Talk that shit to me when you're 50 years old. Talk about you want to work 40 hours to support yourself. You will want a man to supplement that. All right. Men not only work more hours, we work different jobs. So the reason why the accounting for men, so to speak, is so low on what's brought home, there are more young people alive. There are more young people between the age of like 10 and 35 than there are the rest of people. So those people don't even make money at all. So they're talking about the people who are like 18, like really working age to 35. That is where they're getting a bunch of that number from. The average man peaks in his 40s economically, multiple streams of income. Right. So that is where we get this thing where it's like, y'all don't know how much money you make. I just left my corporate job because my side business and this overtook that salary. Like, started just overtaking it. I'm like, the hell I'm giving these people 8 hours out of my day for? I could be scaling my business some more. I could be scaling YouTube some more. Right? That shit took over. I'm only 36.
Okay.
I'm not even in my 40s yet. That's what's going on for most men. The thing that you was thinking, just start thinking by the time you get to this age. It didn't work when you were 20. You went back, you tried it again, you kept doing it for free. It didn't seem like it was gonna do it. Then you just got a breakthrough and it start working. That's what happens for most men.
Well, the gentleman, what was his name? Flex Henry. He was saying only like 6% of people earn six figures. So even if that,
you know what I believe is a straight up six.
No.
That's what I call it. A straight up six figure.
Oh my
Most
God.
millionaires have 7 streams of income.
And
So
most
at least
aren't
100,000-aires, I would say at least got 2, at least. So the one you got on documented on a W-2 is 1. Then there's your 1099 and income you don't report to the government, but we ain't gonna talk about that. I don't want to blow anybody's spot.
Shout out to the Mexicans.
I don't want to blow anybody's. Oh my God, the Mexicans. Yo, let me tell you something. These Mexicans under the table.
We don't pay
these
taxes
dudes
like that. We chilling.
These dudes are millionaires, bro. Under the table.
Right. A lot. Well, they run San Antonio. I mean, I'm in San Antonio. Been here for maybe 30 years. They own San Antonio. So
I love San Antonio.
yeah, it'll be
River.
First of all, the food, the women.
Riverwalk.
Yeah, the Riverwalk. But yeah, the red. Okay, so they own all the industries down here. I mean, when I go to Houston, it's more diverse, obviously, because Koreans got their own side, Mexicans got their own side. But down here in San Antonio, it's mostly like Mexican and white. But it's gonna be restaurants. It's gonna be auto shops. It's going to be car dealerships. It's going to be all these things. They have their whole economy kind of centered
They're walking in my house right now. Cleaning service. A cleaning lady walking in my house right now. I'm not going to do
The
it.
Mexicans don't
They
play,
own
bro.
everything.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I'm glad you say that because in New York City, they own a lot of cleaning buildings that clean multiple corporate buildings. Overnight during the day. This is why I have so much respect for them. People like to look down on these type of people who are considered blue collar, but people don't get it. Pandemic or no pandemic, they're constantly making money.
My aunt has a house cleaning business. She makes $6,000 a week.
Nice.
A week.
Nice.
And I'm not even gonna say how much my dad makes. It's crazy. I'm the only broke one in the family because I'm more Americanized. These dudes don't care. They will work 24/7. They don't care. They don't sleep. All they do is work, bro.
All they do is building. They're building generational
Let me
wealth.
tell you so my father-in-law is a truck driver, pastor, and a damn. Hey, there's a lot of truck driver pastors. Don't laugh. Go ahead. There's a lot of truck driver pastors.
Really? That's funny. That seems like an odd combination.
Tell it on the man.
There's a lot of truck driver real estaters.
Yep.
That's what
I think
truck driver pastor right here.
I think now I was just thinking about this when we were talking about how we were going to direct young people to the subject, and I think as the younger generation, as we used to be, that are coming up now, are going to be so multifaceted. It's going to come to a point where it's not just one job that you have. It's going to be your primary job. It's going to be your side hustle job. It's going to be your own business. It's going to be your education that you're doing on the side. It's going to be so many things that they're going to be that's they're going to be tackling all at the same time just because it came up with technology and availability and stuff.
It's always been that way though. Like my grandmother used to call them type of dudes Renaissance man. Like you always had to have a jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, yeah.
So if you lose one, but that's kind of like what I do. So like I don't even have my barber license, okay? But I could cut the fuck out of some hair.
Oh
okay? My uncle, he did the neighborhood barber shit. He lived a fucking phenomenal life. But not only do like I cut hair, I build engines, I race cars, I do the whole 9 yards. It's a lot of dudes that move that same way too.
Yeah.
But again, they get laughed at. They literally get laughed at.
Wait, is racing cars a hobby or you get paid for that?
Oh, geez.
It can be both.
I get paid. Well, I stopped.
Time out.
Hold on. It's not just racing cars was a hobby. It's a hobby, but it's a love for me because I do it personally. But I can personally tell you, if you do it the right way and you happen to work for like, let's say Porsche, right? You on a Porsche racing team? Oh, you good. It's $200-300K. And that's just the truck. That's just the truck driver. That's not even the mechanic. That's you know what I'm saying? And then you got the driver and the management of the team and all that shit. You can make some serious dough and just getting in that field. That's all it is.
Trucker Yale, question to ask. If you know you're not racing a car, how much money do people put into customizing their car to look like a racer car? How much? Can you please take?
Oh my God! It's like
understand that.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. 69 Camaro, right? A full restoration for that, you spend it at least a minimum of $150,000. At least $150K, and that's depending on how far. But if you do a all out under the body, all this other shit, you spending about $400,000-500,000 easy.
And this is an amateur circuit for that though, right?
Yeah, that's just an amateur circuit. Like depending like GT racing and NASCAR, you know how much it's like $1 million.
Yeah, NASCAR
for each race.
NASCAR is crazy.
Each race is $1 million, and then on top of that, the car alone is over $1 million plus. So imagine your $1 million plus investment crashing into a wall at 235 miles per hour, and then the mechanics got to replace the whole engine, the whole shell, the whole covering. The tires alone is like $20,000 a pop. Okay, $20,000 a tire. So it's big money. That's why it's so expensive when it comes to racing.
All right.
Thank you very much.
How the hell y'all got on Cutlass Supremes or whatever y'all talk about? But
thank you for sharing that information.
Who hasn't gone on this particular topic? What other career paths would you tell these people to go to instead of going to college? Anybody can go.
Truck driving.
Okay.
Not just over the road, but like you can work for the city doing truck driving. You can work for the military, which they are looking for truck drivers heavily, which I'm about to start getting into next year. You got Texas, where they do like mineral, oil, fracking, stuff like that. You got oversized loads. I mean, and you could be home every day.
And even when you join the military, that's another thing too, as far as picking the right MOS. You know what I'm saying? Going in there for something that can translate into the civilian world. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, being prepared for retirement after the military. If you don't do 20, that's fine. But they changed the retirement plan for the military too. So if you just decide to do 5 years, get in there, reap the benefits of it, your GI Bill, whatever, and get out. If you decide to maybe go to college and then go in as a first lieutenant, and you come in with making decent money at 24, 25 years old. So I think with a lot of things, it's getting our young people to understand the the behind the scenes of working. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you could just go in and be making a lot of be doing pretty well early on, but you don't know kind of like the politics of even working and set yourself up for the future. And you can find yourself, like I said before, 10 years later, just starting to get what you should do or what you should have had done, you know, coming in the beginning.
Well, I said truck driving because say for instance, you was making like 36, maybe $40,000 a year, right? You go get your CDL, which takes 3 weeks to a month, depending on who you drive for, right? By the end of that first year, once that first year passed, after you got your CDLA, you can go from 40,000 to 100K in 1 year. It's easy. All you got to do is go get your CDL in 3 weeks.
And another thing is PhD, but she's still there? Is she still there? Oh, she might not be. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. So I was gonna even say to you, and I'm pretty sure you've done this in your life or whatever. But the perspective that you have having your PhD, I don't know what it's in, but regardless what it's in, just the perspective of what you probably have could help, say, a trucker Yale with his business, because you're looking at it from a more analytical perspective versus the way he probably would be looking. You say, you know what, you thought about doing this, doing that, or whatever. So even though it's two different industries, the perspective that you may bring, because how you think as an academic, excuse me, I'm in a bowler now, as an academic, that you could help him out, and maybe even vice versa.
I would say
it's true.
I'm agree with Trucker Yale.
Tired dude. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm agree with Trucker Yale. I've been driving trucks for 28 years now, and my first job coming out of trucker school was I think I did 40,000. That's a 22-year-old kid, and I've never went down from that point. I was always been up ever since then. So and I had very little education money. It was like I think I paid for maybe $2,000 for my license, which I could have got it cheap if I went to work for somebody else. Could have got it for free. But I can tell you right,
and that's the part that a lot of people don't know.
And then the second part about this is with the money I make now, I've owned my own truck for about a few years. That was great, but company drivers started making here recently a lot more money too. So either way, I let my truck go, got in somebody else's truck. Lifestyles never went down. So, but with that said, I put my son through college, put my wife through college, and my daughter's in college now. And my son is actually driving trucks with me now, with a degree.
And speaking of tires, the tires on a truck is expensive. So that's another part of the game to get into. As far as selling truck tires, I seen a brother online. It was actually a brother. He had a 6-figure business that he built on selling truck tires. So it's money in that too.
I know a mechanic who I used to work with. That's all he did was tires. I mean, straight, nothing else but tires. And I know his family. I know he pulled almost 7 figures a year.
Damn.
Yeah, most definitely. So the tire cost in my truck is about $1,000, depending on the brand you got. Like just 2 of my tires are $2,000. That's the steer tires, and then the other 6 tires is like $6,000. So that's just on a tractor. That's not even including the trailer. The trailer tires that I'm about to put on here is gonna cost me about $7,000 total.
And you wonder why Kevin Dunn was saying don't look down on blue collar worker for so long. He know the game. If I have a problem with female who say, "Oh, we're the most educated in American educational system compared to the global system,"
CBN,
think again.
We just have to accept what the women want, bro. At this point, they're saying what they want. You're not gonna change their mind.
We don't have to accept that shit.
No.
We don't have to. What I say is don't. Men have to stop caring what women think about their career choices.
Just accept it. This is who they are.
And so,
right?
as a man, you pick what path you want to go, and whatever woman attracts, whatever woman you attract, that's who's for you. if
I
a
agree.
woman, if a
I
woman, if a
respect you,
woman,
John, but let me tell you that as an African Nigerian, we don't care what women want. Either you pick
that's
that program or we just pass you by. You're like, okay,
that's. I agree with you. You're not saying anything different than what I believe. I believe that. I don't. You
I
don't.
I
agree.
don't have time
I
for the
don't.
game. I told my mom to the back, I have a one-strike contract. You F up with me, deuces. Adios. Next.
That's it.
Oh, you
I don't
talking
disagree
shit.
with
I
that.
don't got the time for that.
I don't.
We need to
I think
build.
every man should
Nigerians
move that
are
way.
trained to build. We're not trained to waste time.
You know what I think it is though? I think for a woman, not for a woman, speaking from her perspective, but I think as far as a serious long-term relationship goes, when it comes to like choosing a man, like for a woman, she's some women are choosing the man, which is what we want, versus other modern women. I think that's where we're all coming from here, where modern women are trying to choose the best lifestyle. They're not trying to, they don't care about the man, they care about the money he makes. They don't care about the man, they care about their vacation. They don't care about the man, they care about the house he has. They don't care
I
Let
about
me
know.
the
tell you
man.
this.
You know what I'm saying? The modern woman versus
I know a lot of women who would literally pass up on a truck driver, which I call them women. I call them the weak-minded women because it takes a strong woman to deal with a military man. You know what I'm saying? And a trucker. And when you get that woman that can deal with that type of person, they get the world. Okay, they get the world. The world. They're not getting fucked over. They're not nothing because it's hard being with a truck driver, and it's hard being with anybody that's making money that ain't really home all the time. So
Right.
them women that move that way, I don't get on no support. I don't get on no
Right, but
support.
why would a woman be weak-minded because she doesn't want to deal with that lifestyle? I mean, it's
It
just
ain't the lifestyle. It's not the lifestyle. It's the fact that it's the hours that he putting in to work,
right.
and she can't
That's
deal
the
with it
lifestyle.
because okay, the lifestyle, whatever it is, that's fine. But y'all bypass them dudes because y'all think y'all bypass them dudes, and then y'all go fuck with them other dudes.
Hold on.
Yeah, but if that lifestyle isn't compatible with what she wants, then why wouldn't she?
Hold on.
Okay, that's why we said y'all laugh at the dudes that do that. That's why we said that.
Hold on, y'all. You gotta adjust for the BS.
That's why I just wanted to address that. I really wanted to address that, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah, because what she just did was, why would a woman want to deal with that? Well, first of all, you don't have to.
Right.
And so what I'm saying to you, what I'm saying is, women got this thing all wrong. Your lifestyle was created. Your lifestyle was created to help a man.
I don't believe
that. Bro, they don't care about that. They're working from home, $150,000 a year. They don't care.
I got you.
Would you rather a woman just go along with that, and while you out on the road for long periods of time, she cheating behind your back, or would you rather a woman just be straight up and
let
say,
me
I can't
repeat
deal with
myself.
that?
Let me repeat myself again, so you can get a great understanding. So let me break it down real clear. A woman who can deal with a truck driver and a military man, the ones that don't cheat, the ones that take care of the household, the ones that respect their man because he out here hustling, I give 100% blessings to them. Now the ones that you talking about, fuck them hoes.
Right,
Let
but
them
I'm
bitches
saying,
drown.
you would rather a woman tell you I can't deal with this lifestyle than to be one of
I
them.
was okay. Before I met my woman, I was dating a girl who literally told me before my trucking career took off, listen, I can't deal with you being over the road. I say, you know what? I can respect that because most women won't do that. What they do is they'll act like and put on this little bullshit persona, and then they go out and cheat.
Right.
They go out and cheat, but then but she lost, but she lose out because 10 years later, 6 years later, when I ran into her again, now she's talking about, well, I could deal with a truck driver. No, bitch, it's too late.
All right, wait, hold on. PhD Diva. What is the minimum salary you will accept in a male partner?
What's the purpose of this question?
No, it's like, well, let me put it. Not that women actually get it. When you ask a woman what she wants a high earning man. So what you basically did is say you're not going to deal with a truck driver's lifestyle because he's gone and he's not always available. Is that true?
Yes.
Most women want high earning man. So no matter if he's down the street, you're not going to see him and he's not going to be available to you. Women, that's why I said we got to adjust for the BS. Once I started to scale everything I'm capable of doing, I became less available to everyone in my life. I don't have time because I have so much to do. And no matter what a man is doing, his productivity means he don't got time. So that's why I'm like, it don't matter if he's a trucker. It don't matter if he's a CEO. It don't matter if he's a director of the business. He don't have time for you. So the expectation that a man makes a lot of money equals he don't have time. You see what I'm saying?
Not necessarily.
Yes, necessarily.
Yes, necessarily. Yes, necessarily.
Yes,
yes, necessarily.
That is
there's very few men who don't work, and even those men work. And they
well, no. So I'm saying I know men who work a straight 40 and they still earn, 140, 150, so
Are you married to one of them?
What?
Are you married to this 40 hour 140 a year guy? Are you married to them? That's why you're saying you know?
Yeah, I know. Okay, and so what? You're assuming that I actually want to be somebody's wife.
Oh my God,
man!
How much does drop even for the day, bro?
Freeze, why y'all even talking to her for? She's from the streets.
That's what I'm saying, like, bro. Just move on.
He's on the panel. That's why we
talking to her for. She's from the streets, bro.
No. Wait. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Even though it's gaslighting us, even though it's gaslighting, and even though it's totally left field, I do have to admit that sometimes if I do hear something whack, I do have to maybe go back in my thinking and kind of confirm, was I right, or do I need to maybe change it up and explain myself better? So, hey, it is what it is.
Listen, man, they don't even wear their own hair and stuff. You gotta understand, they are destroyed. You gotta find a woman to fit.
That is a fact.
You know one thing. I'm late to the show. I'm late to the show.
They are destroyed.
Listen. It's called artificial intelligence. They're not gonna have jobs in 7 years. Don't worry. They all will be dismissed then. Trust me. 7 more years.
Did y'all discuss
all these fucking quirks and all this stuff? They got all these jobs, PhD jobs. They not. It's over with. Hope you didn't show them. They don't even get it. They got robots and all these jobs. It's over with. 7 years. Let her talk down.
And I'm a guy. I know that too.
That girl don't want to get her shit together, so she can't get no man anyway. She's just talking shit. She'll jump off.
And so this is the thing. Why do black men do that? If a woman doesn't agree with you, then you start trying to do all this ad hominem stuff. You don't know what you're saying. Yeah, but
you know why we bad at ball? Because our mothers was single by themselves.
Or don't do.
All right. So
you're muted, sugar. You're muted.
All right, hold on. I was about to say I was gonna say welcome to the show, Davion, but it looks like you need no introduction. You came out this bitch swinging. Okay, Sugar Curls, how you doing?
How y'all brothers doing? I mean, I ain't trying to be against this, but we good. We good.
No, we with you.
Productive information. I like a real queen gonna be productive, man. All that. That's what they teaching the young girls. Well, look at I got a 21-year-old daughter. I got to argue with her mother. This, don't do this. Unproductiveness. We supposed to be together trying to come with a plan. They get PhDs and they don't start no businesses. They ain't built no buildings. They ain't built no schools. You know all the history.
Did you marry your daughter's mother? Did you marry your daughter's
mother?
Yes,
I've been married for 12 years. Yes, I am. I'm gonna get my daughter right now. I'm married.
How the hell did I mute y'all to stop the toxicity? These mugs go unmute themselves and go back.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, bro. Because
I feel like y'all are meant to be in a relationship some kind of way, and I just can't wait to be over y'all house when y'all little fights and spats.
Don't you wish that big right?
Hold up, EBD is right. The two people like this, you always find out they smashing at some point.
No.
So you saying they best friends?
Find out they be angry smashing. This is what you call angry.
No, bro.
No, thank you.
They huffing and puffing in the bedroom, and then as soon as it's over,
he did turn on.
I can't wait.
No, the sad thing is, we love our women more than they love themselves, brother. That's the problem.
No,
we see something in them they don't see in themselves.
That is a problem.
Look, that's why we love.
That's a false statement.
No, it isn't. No, we love our women more than they love themselves. We want them to get better. They don't.
Y'all love y'all.
Y'all should be focusing on y'all getting better though.
We are.
We already built.
We are.
All your efforts
You have everything you have as far as a black woman because of black men.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, here we go.
Absolutely.
If that's the case, who built your
the
tires?
most ineffectual group of men.
Who,
but y'all
who built your tires on a vehicle that you drive?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Who built your tires on a vehicle that you drove?
I don't know.
Say a white man.
Who built? Hold on. Who put your brake system together?
Right, a white man or some Asian man, probably.
But it's a man, right?
Everything.
It's an Asian car company. So
hold on. Who built?
They stole everything.
You know what, Trigger Mike? Since you want to bring that up, you know what's crazy? It's the same average man that y'all laugh at, or y'all showing up will break down and get all y'all need for the white man to do the same goddamn job. Y'all be right in the front fucking line.
This you understand, man.
I'm muting people now. God dang it. Hey, Sugar Curls.
There's a difference between a boss and a worker. You talking to a worker. You a boss, right, bro.
I got to get Sugar Curls in. We done. How you doing? Please sprinkle us with some femininity on this toxic ass broadcast we got now.
How's everyone doing? This is very interesting. I would like to give my take on this and give some context. So sure. There are many career paths that young people can have that does not involve a degree where they can make really good money. I do know some personally that work at plants and they've gone through certification, training, of course. You know, these are not skills that are they just come out of a hat. These are real skills that can be learned, that can be passed on, and they make very good money, over 100K, even into the 200,000s. I personally have friends that are millionaires. And what I find is that with the men in particular, these men work way more than 40 hours a week. Okay. They have wives, they have a house full of kids, the wives are staying home, they hardly ever see their husbands. So I don't know where this rhetoric of, you know, just working 40 hours and making millions, I've never seen it in my career. The women who make a lot of money tend to not be married. Yeah. The ones that make 800,000 and up or 500K and up, ones that I know, they're not married, they're divorced, or they actually are choosing to stay single for whatever reason. They typically don't get men that are making as much as they do or higher because those men are not looking for those women.
Like, damn sure not.
I mean, I've just never seen it happen. Now, I'm not saying there's not anomalies or, you know, very individual, rare women in a particular country or state that it may happen to, but this is not common. This is not the trend. So I just feel like we're talking about things that just don't exist to make it fit. And I'm not pointing out anyone in particular. I'm just saying reality. We have to, as women, we have to live in reality and be honest with ourselves, honest with our children. You know, I raised 2 little girls and I teach them to be honest and live in reality. Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out as far as income is there's nothing wrong with going to college and getting a PhD or a bachelor's, but one has to understand that what comes with it. I mean, there is a lot of debt that comes with it. There is a lot of time. There are thousands of people that have these degrees that don't even use them, and they found themselves getting into other passions and other things that they're better at. So we just have to educate ourselves and educate our young people like, hey, you know, I always tell my kids, have more than one option. You know, I have a background of accounting. I'm not just a cosmetic formulator. I'm not just a licensed professional. I went to school for accounting for 2 years. I went to a community college. So, you know, I was able to use that skill, and obviously I can use it in business. So I just wanted to put I was like listening and I'm like, wow, this is not reality.
Hey,
so thank you for letting me give my point.
So
who is that? Who?
Is
that
John the Baptist? John the
Baptist.
Baptist. I think a couple things piss me off about these kind of conversations. And y'all probably already talked about it. I'm late to the program. I will admit that. But 2 things that piss me off. One thing is, I don't think society understands the true value of a man. And the reason why I say this is because if women understood the value of a man, they wouldn't base on a dollar amount.
Mm.
And I think we get too focused on money. And so everybody know that my background is spiritual. My background is spiritual. So most of my opinion, most of my principles come from that ideology. If you knew the value of a man, if a man made $30,000 a year, you would rock with him. But when you don't know the true value of something, you belittle it. I can tell you, I had a friend of mine gave me some Valentino cologne. I had no idea what it was, and I was just spraying this cologne left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, every time I go somewhere. And I got ready to reorder the cologne when I ran out of it. And then when I got to reorder it and I saw how much it cost, I'm like, wow, I didn't know what I had. And so when I brought it the second time to get it, it cost me. But when I realized what it was, guess when I wore that cologne? Special occasions. You treat it with respect when you know what the value of what it really is. Women don't know the value of a man, but you know what? Let Russia attack. Like they doing over there. You'll know the value of a man then. Let COVID happen again and the world comes into a crisis. You know how valuable a man is then. All these talking points about how much a man makes me sick. Matter of fact, another thing let me know is that if you as a man, if your wife works, if she works outside if you want her to work, she's committing adultery to you.
It's called Isaiah, brother. Isaiah chapter 6, chapter 7. But can I say something though?
Go ahead.
Now, I'm not against it because I have associates, that's nothing, but I have several businesses. I want to take trades. The thing is, I don't want to see my daughters, because I trained my daughters to be. It was an argument my wife had for a long time with my wife.
No, not just yet. Not yet. It's not. My card is not working. For some reason, hold on. I'll call you.
But you know, my daughters, I train my daughters, yes, to be wives. When you starting off, get yourself together. Go do what you want to do. Get your money up. Start you a business. See, this is one thing I realized, because I worked in corporate America for a while and I hated it. Had to be the token nigga. I'm not doing that no more. I can't leave my kids no job, but I can leave them businesses. I'm teaching my son, if you don't want it, because this is the problem. I seen my grandmother break her back. Beautiful woman. I seen my mother break her back. I seen my father breaking their back. But they ain't got nothing. We're going to do pass me a Cadillac. I'm tired of that. If in order for us to be free, we got to make our own, build our own. And I respect your degree, sister. That's a grind. That's a grind, sister. You got a PhD, that's a grind. I respect it. But at the end of the day, we all men are made different. You're only gonna be able to work a good 60 years before your body start really breaking down, sister. Then what? 60. Then what's gonna happen?
60. You too kind. It ain't even
60 years. And I bet you, I'm quite sure you're so intelligent. I bet you're a beautiful creature. But this is what I learned. Me trying to be a man. You know what give me the most power? Myself personally, because I'm made in the image of God, number one, because we are the original people. We're not Africans. This is our land. They stole it from us. Everything here was here before they even got here. They took it in 1900. But see, you believe that false history they teach you in school. America was here. We didn't come on no boats. They came on the boats. But besides all that, the best thing to a good man is that queen he got at home. That's what make me motivate me to get up every day and do what I gotta do and work these ridiculous hours. Cause I love when she needs something. Just take this car and do whatever you gotta do. Make sure my kids is good. So until you get off that high horse and understand, I bought cars, rims, all that didn't matter until I got that queen to love me, to hold me down when I need her. Ain't nothing I would not do in the world for her to make her happy and make my children happy. And I want to be the example to my daughters for them to look at a man like me to get when they get older, when they find a guy. Because my daughter's gonna be under my covering. That's in the Bible. Ain't no woman supposed to be walking around here not under the covering of a man. My daughters is not leaving this house until they get married. They're not gonna be walking around here sleeping with this person, that person, destroy their whole mind and mentality. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna let that happen. So I love you, sis. I respect it. Take your degree, if you really want to be loving, and start businesses for these sisters, and put yourself in the right position where you're supposed to be, and you will see happiness is not money. Money not gonna make us happy. Money is just paper. and they changing it now to digital. So they about to take all our money. So it doesn't even matter. If you don't have no tangible goods, if you don't have no properties and stuff, it don't even matter. Because without you, I'm nothing. And without me, you're nothing. Because I came from you. That's the whole thing we ain't trying to get and understand. I got here through the vessel of the mother of the universe, the black woman of America, not Africa, of America. Not trying to be funny, my brother. I ain't hating on you. We all got our own. But without you, I'm nothing. Without me, you're never going to be nothing. No matter how many degrees you get, it doesn't matter. I'm going to fall back.
My mic is muted. That's the new way to say it on the Trigger Mike Show. We like that. All right. Let's get final thoughts on this. So I want y'all to just go around and kind of leave your thoughts on should black people go to college. 30 seconds. EBD, what you got?
Only reason you need to go to college is because you know what you want to do and you know why you're going and you have a purpose. If outside of that, if you don't really know what you want to do, you can probably take some time and find out what you're good at, and that's going to be and that's how that can guide you for the rest of your life. So that's what I recommend. Find what you're good at and then go from there.
All right, CBN, should black people go to college? Final thoughts. 30 seconds.
Yes and no, because for one, not everything you can find in college. You'll find multiple different trade schools that are out there. And two, a lot of trade schools are making far more than college degrees. Some skilled trade can lead to a college degree, but quicker than you think. In the IT field, you don't have to go to school directly. So intervocation equals to certain college credits. So you can use that to get your degree quicker. To have both is a great thing. But I would say go to trade school first, figure out what you're good at, then from there move to the next. That's my thing from experience.
Bet. All right, Trucker Yale.
Yo.
Should black people go to college? Final thoughts.
Sorry.
30 seconds.
I think black people should go to college only if it's STEM fields and networking. Them two, but I think, truth be told, I think we need to revert back to what we was known best for, which is our skills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like construction and stuff like that. And you know, we really good at that. So that's all I got.
All right, Sugar Curls.
Yes, I would have to say that I'm not sure that the notion of going to college is an exclusive question to those of us who are of African descent or not. I'm not sure how that would apply directly, but I would say that if one is Black, they should consider going to college, science, technology, engineering, math. If it's not one of those fields, I would encourage one to, in high school, see if there's in high school, if you're academically inclined, if your grades are well, see if there's a high school that you can go to where you can get a skill, you can graduate with an associate's degree. You can also go to trade schools after high school, get some kind of certification. College and university, community college and university are two different things, so understand the difference and understand what's involved. And whatever you get involved in, make sure it's something that you enjoy doing all the time. Thank you.
My man, John the Baptist, what do you got?
Can I ask you a question before I go?
Yep.
What is the average cost to go to a 4-year school and to get a master's degree?
A lot of goddamn money.
Average cost. Give me a ballpark. Give me a ballpark number. Ballpark. Just give me a ballpark.
Somebody put it in the chat earlier. Let me put an average college tuition. Let's see. According to the Education Data Initiative, the average cost of tuition and fees at an in-state public university is $8,600 per year as of January 22. This is lower than the national average of $9,350. Oh, okay. This is Texas, but yeah.
Yeah, that sounds low, man.
No, that's probably without the on-campus fees, the meal plan, and all of that. That's just the tuition.
Oh, yeah, I know that's low. Yeah, I know it's about $12,000 to $15,000 a year, depending on for a private school. I know that for a private school for sure. Because my son went to a private school.
OSU, OSU was $22,000 a year.
So the point I'm going to make is, instead of taking that $15,000 a year, which is about equal to about $6,000 after 4 years for a bachelor's degree at a private school, or $20,000 for a public school, as I think someone just said, take that money and invest in your house, or find something to invest in without going in debt to pay for college.
Equity, yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you, in the long run, you'll come a lot further by doing that than going to college. Because it's what we fell into. We fell into this trap of assimilating, thinking that we gotta go do it. We gotta do it this way because that's what we've been brainwashed to think. You gotta learn how to think independently and think about what's best for me, and go out there and build something, and stop taking what everybody else give you and making them rich but making yourself poor, all in for a piece of paper. I'm done.
My mic is muted. All right, Davion, is that what you got?
Yes, sir. I think going to college is great and wonderful, but you got to go for specific things like, certain skills, nursing, a doctor, engineering, certain things. But it can't be in an overflated market with everybody. How many engineers they gonna need? How many people is gonna be the IT major? So yeah, it's wonderful to go when you're going for specific things. But I think if you're gonna do that, you need to flip that degree into some kind of skill for yourself to start you a business. But yes, I think it's a wonderful thing to go for. It all depends on what you're going for. Now, if you're just going to be a botanist or some silly stuff, then that's just a waste of money. But I do think that some of us do need to go because everybody can't work with their hands. Like everybody wasn't fast. Everybody couldn't play basketball. So it all depends on what you're trying to go for and what your purpose is. But, that's all it is. I think it's a wonderful thing. But I would recommend that young men go ahead and get trades first and then go to college where you can pay for it. Because sometimes when we go there when we was young, we don't be knowing what we want to do.
Yep. All right. PhD, but my bad. I didn't realize I skipped you. Should Black people go to college? Final thoughts.
Mm-hmm. So I think some Black people should go to college. I think some Black people should not go to college. Like you said, it's for, really smart people. College was never intended for the masses. So, really smart people or rich people. And you should definitely have a, John the Baptist, your mic isn't muted.
Oh, my bad.
Right. And so you should definitely have a plan for, okay, you're unmuted again.
Like Jonathan.
For what you're going to do with that.
I muted you,
Jonathan. No. Okay. So yeah, but I do think also that we need people in more than just STEM fields. So, law isn't a STEM field, but we need attorneys, right? So I think, you can figure out a way to make use of a degree in anything. But you just need to kind of have an idea of how you want to use it on the front end. And then some people should not be going to college and should, maybe get a skilled trade or start a business or, start investing in houses or whatever. So, I think it's not an all or nothing proposition.
Okay. Mr. Rich.
Yeah, I agree with a lot what has been said. I think that before anybody who has kids that are college bound or coming out of high school, and while they're in high school, I think parents need to start to do an evaluation on whether it's, cost effective to send one kid to college and another one to do something else. Especially, with the cost of college, what's the return on the investment? And STEM is where you're going to get a job, and there's some other professions. Believe it or not, human resources is not a bad profession to be in because with the litigious society that we have, it's a big deal to have a good human resource department. A lot of Black women like to do that too, I think. But the bottom line is you can make some money, right? So I just think an analysis needs to be done, and some planning. With planning, it'll come out. One kid might not have the aptitude for college, and you're going to know it before they come out of high school. You really will know it, so you just got to pay attention and just spend your money wisely. And just like John the Baptist said, if you're going to spend $20,000 a year on a kid and he ain't, or she ain't, she doesn't have the aptitude for school, do something else with that money for that kid. Put them in a trade or do something else. But I think that's the kind of analysis we need to have.
Bet. Neighborhood, you there? You didn't really speak much today.
Yes, sir. I am here. It's been a good conversation to pop in and out on because I've been on work calls all day. But I want to speak from the perspective of a son of a PhD recipient from Yale University, and my mother has a master's degree from Southern University, and I graduated myself with a bachelor's from Dillard University, double degree. But what I will say, I made probably close to $1 million in my first 15 years in the corporate world. And I'm tracking probably in half of that to get into almost $1 million as an adjuster, an insurance adjuster. I work for a pretty large firm and make a significant amount of money and been traveling all around the country, adjusting people's claims from doctors, lawyers, rappers, teachers, anyone, everyone. I have a friend whose son at 18 years old made $50,000 from getting a license that cost $500. Now I had a private university education, got degreed, got into the corporate world, made a lot of money, and that same 18-year-old is making probably what my parents made when I went to college in 2023. It kind of just shows you the change in the times that college is not necessary. You can go to college if you want to get a specialized position in a job, make a lot of good money in the STEM field. But guess what? I know general contractors that get overhead and profit on an estimate that I write for $150,000, and they just get it for putting their name on the paperwork. So, and you can get a general contracting license in some cities and states for $75. So it just is how you want to get to it. My mic is muted. Y'all have a good day.
All righty. All right, y'all. We out of here. I appreciate everybody for coming through on the Trigger Mike Show. Excellent topic today. Should black people go to college? I think the panel made a pretty good case. Go back and watch the monologue. All right, I gave my thoughts on this. College is for rich people and smart people. Some of you do not have no business going there when you're 18 years old. You got a lot of growing up to do. You have to put yourself in a situation where you can pay for it. All right, go to the military, get a trade, and stop letting, I'm going to just say it, your moms, just because they want a degree on the wall, set you up for failure. All right, it's the moms out here pushing degrees on their children when their children aren't good students. Good students have success in college. College does not teach you how to be a good student. I need to make that clear to you. You do not get smarter in college. They're not sitting down with you in small groups helping you to do anything. Great students do well in college. You can figure out how to be great at anything in this life without a college degree. All right. I just want to give a shout out to all the blue collar workers who are the lifeblood of the American economy, making stacks on stacks. All right. So shout out to them. Let them tell you how to live a life with no debt, how to live a life where you can take care of a family early, because that is how we rebuild community. When men have resources early, they build families. So just wanted to get that message out there. Thank you for all the super chats. Let's get those read real quick. My man Don X says, $2. Being dead broke is the root of all evil. Rick R. Ray Alexander, $5. If our people opt out of higher education collectively, that would lock our people into an underclass. Skilled trades also require high competencies. Yes and no. I mean, no group is ever going to be completely out of higher education, but we need to take the stupid people out. We need to take the people who aren't doing anything out because they just accrue debt, which keeps the wage gap exactly where it is because they don't have the determination after graduation to do anything with that degree. We have the most people, as far as women are concerned, who enrolled in school within a 10-year period, and the wage gap didn't close 1 red cent. That tells you they did not work or get the jobs necessary to close that wage gap. All right, so we need to get the people who aren't suited for college out of college and into the workforce. Terenzo Jones, $5. Start with research and etymology of money and how it's created from thin air and go from there. Otherwise, good luck with this topic. My man, Sophisticated Jerk, what's up? Women want a successful man without the successful habits. I think we proved that today. All right, y'all. Chaotic show is coming on next. Make sure you stick around for that. Get the notification. Go ahead and sit and chat it up with Chaotic. He has a good one on this topic. So on this topic today, Chaotic show will be about the Chinese of the black race. Chaos with Chaotic. This is going to be a good one. The Chinese of the black race. So make sure you go on over to his show right now. What I want you to do, I want you to check out the Lapeef Experience. Tonight on the Lapeef Network, we have King Talk. I will be on that show as well if you are a Trigger Mike fan. We had a great show last night on the Lapeef Experience channel. It was good. It was just a good show. Go check that one out as well if you can. Also, check out my page on the platform, Trigger Mike Show on YouTube. Try to get to 1,000 people. I'm like 20 something away. Everybody watching right now, type in Trigger Mike Show in the search bar. Give me a subscribe. Give me a subscribe to get me to 1,000. Then come back for Chaotic Show on the Lapeef Network. I appreciate y'all. I'm out. See you soon. The Chinese of the black race coming on next.